He is expected to return to replace Jordan Butts, who's recovering from a punctured lung, while Luke Pedler is tipped to cover Braden Cook, who was concussed. Veteran midfielder Matt Crouch will play in the SANFL after recovering from a hip injury. Giants veteran Stephen Cornelio is set to make his long-awaited return to tomorrow night against Essendon. The 31-year-old hasn't played at the top level since round 3 due to a glute injury. Coach Adam Kingsley said Cornelio has proved his fitness in the VFL.
I think Cogs will be good. He got through main training today. Felt really good. He's had 2 games back. We think he's probably ready to go, so I'd expect to see him.
North Melbourne ruckman Tristan Sherry has lost his bid to overturn a 3-game ban for knocking out Melbourne's Tom Sparrow, while Brisbane's Zach Bailey's ban was also upheld. He'll miss this week's game against the Western Bulldogs. As Australia celebrates a stunning Test Series clean sweep in the West Indies, there's fears it could be the last one Australia plays in the Caribbean. The ICC is reportedly considering moving to a 2-tier system, which would see the Aussies and Windies no longer face in Test cricket. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cosy. Stay with CMAX. Visit cmax.com.au now and register your interest today.
A possible shower for your Wednesday with a top of 16. Showers easing tomorrow, also 16. Friday, partly cloudy, 15 and 16 on Saturday. Right now, it's 10 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
John Williamson is coming to Adelaide.
A true blue. How you going, folks? Join me on my 55-year anniversary tour. My travelling days are done.
It's raining on the rock.
I'll be playing all my old favourites and songs from my new album. How many songs?
Beautiful world.
Can't wait to see you there.
They come from you.
John Williamson, Her Majesty's Theatre, Friday, July 25. Book now at Ticketek, supported by 5AA.
Your old hot water system can drive as much as 40% of your energy bill. Fortunately, you can upgrade to something that's 70% cheaper to run thanks to Right Price. They're the leaders in heat pumps and installation. Now's the time to upgrade and save money on a more efficient hot water system and take advantage of government incentives and free installation. Reduce your energy costs today with a heat pump from Right Price. Make the switch with Right Price Hot Water.
At Right Price, heating and cooling, you can get the price right at Right Price.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. The National Tiles famous annual winter spend and save is on now. Spend $4,000 will only charge you $2,750, or spend $2,000 will only charge you $1,450, or $1,000 will only charge you $750. Don't miss the National Tiles famous annual winter spend and save on now. So rush into a National Tiles store near you, or go online at nationaltiles.com.au now and save. Conditions apply.
Now, if you love your home but you've never been in love with your kitchen, the answer, Jade, is not far away.
No, it's not. It's just 15 minutes up the freeway, actually. That's where you'll find Balhanna Kitchens by Design. It boasts the largest kitchen design showroom in the Adelaide Hills, and it's a family business with 35 years of experience. So they care about taking care of you.
How good is that? And their expertise goes further than just kitchens. They can create laundries, linen cupboards, robes, and even vanities. Plus, all cabinet installations are backed by, how about this, a 10-year warranty.
Yeah, brilliant. Balhanna Kitchens by Design. It's not too far to go to make your dream kitchen a reality. See more at balhannakitchens.com.au.
The news and issues that matter to South Australia. Always Adelaide. This is 5AA.
It's game on at Hyundai with offers on new and demonstrator models. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
5AA Breakfast with Jade and Tom Wren.
Yes, good morning and welcome to 5AA Breakfast, coming up to 8 minutes past 6 o'clock on this Wednesday, July the 16th. Another big show coming up today. We've got so much to talk about, so many issues that we want to tackle, and we want you to join in the show with us as I welcome in Jade Robran. Good morning, Jade.
Good morning, Tommy. It's going to be a good day. Do you know why? Because we've got a little bin in the corner of our studio, and after a live read, I'll screw up my paper and then I'll go for a shot, a basketball
You're one from
shot.
one.
And I'm 1 from 1 this morning.
Well,
that's going to be a good day.
Your percentage has been like, you are from a fair distance. It's like the 3-point line. And you're probably, I reckon, 2 from about 20 this week.
Absolutely, I am.
But you 1 from 1 this morning. So
it's going to be a good day.
You're away. goodness, did you notice the fog driving in this morning?
Absolutely, I did.
It was
I could
really
barely see
foggy
in front of you.
Yeah, so give us a call, folks, or send us a text, 82230000. How foggy is it where you are this morning? Just driving in the city, which is rare. There was a lot of fog coming in. I really noticed it this morning. So I bet in the Adelaide Hills, for example, it's quite significant. So love to hear from you.
As everyone's just starting to creep out of bed over the next hour or so, you'll go outside and you'll realise you can barely see your hand in front of you when you have to hold it out. It's really foggy start to the day. I was late this morning, not late for the show, but I like to get in at about around the 5:30 mark.
Mm-hmm.
I got in at 5:45 this morning because I couldn't find my keys.
Oh, that's a terrible feeling.
And I needed the keys because I've only got one because my normal car has died. I'm waiting for an engine to be flown in from overseas because it's completely kaput.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a loan car and they've only given me one set of keys and it had all the security badges and everything that we need to get into the building. Guess where I found them?
Oh, no. Keys. I mean, they could be anywhere, but you usually leave them in the same spot, don't you? But you've obviously, I don't know, the wrong kitchen bench or one of the boys' rooms, maybe.
Well, in the dog bed.
Dog bed.
So at some point in the middle of the night, because I had my little stash, my drink bottle, my apple, my keys that I like to just take with me. No, the dog somehow has jumped onto the table, got my keys and taken them into his dog bed. And he was up and about this morning walking around with me, whereas normally he'd stay in bed. So I thought, this is a bit strange. I'm just going to have a look in Ralph's bed just in case.
Mm-hmm.
The little bugger. He takes something of mine to bed with him every night, which is why I thought that. And so normally it's a slipper or a sock or a jumper.
Yeah.
But the cuddly keys, those soft and cuddly keys.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Have you ever lost your keys? You go into a panic.
Oh, yeah, I've lost the wallet, the phone, the keys, all of it. I'm hopeless, because I put something down. I can't remember where I put it, and it's the worst feeling. The one that I did lose at work one day, I had the entire floor, I think, looking for it, is I took off this ring that I've got on my right hand.
The grandma?
The grandma one. I tend to flick my ring around and then catch it, so I always do that. Anyway, I dropped it, and it bounced on the floor, and then I couldn't find it. And I was looking for about 20 minutes, and then so I got Vicky Schwartz, who you know really well, and everyone in sport, Corey, who's here with us this week.
On their hands and knees.
On their hands and knees. Actually, Corey might not have been here, but everyone was on their hands and knees. It had bounced up, and there was a big jacket, one of those big raincoats, and they've got the little strings on the back or whatever, to tighten the... It bounced up and hooked itself on the back of that. We couldn't find it for about an hour, and I'd almost given up. Like I was checking under drawers, in drawers. I just could not find it. And then, it was a full newsroom search. It was bizarre.
How bizarre that it jumped up and
then hooked itself on and stayed there. It was weird.
Oh, there is nothing worse. That's actually just reminded me. Jude Bolton, the ex-Sydney Swans, lost his wedding ring on his honeymoon in the ocean. And I remember catching up with Jude and Lynette when they got back, and I was like, Bolt, where's your ring? That was really beautiful. And he goes, oh, my God, don't mention it in front of
Don't mention the war.
It's just come off and it's floating somewhere in the middle of the ocean somewhere. What's something significant that you've lost? 8223 0000. As always, we've got a whole stack of Wallace Cinema passes to give away. And today would be the perfect day to go catch one of the blockbusters out there because it looks like it's going to be a bit of a pea super.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It's a great morning to be inside, I reckon, Jade. And we've got a really big show coming up today too. There is a stack of things that we're going to sink our teeth into, including we're going to have a chat with Chris Davies just after 7 o'clock this morning about that story surrounding racism and, those horrible barbs that were thrown at Jace Burgoyne online. So that's going to be one of the many issues we're covering this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, Sean Fuster is in.
Yes.
And I love this story. Gen Z dads staying at home while mum's working. So that is a real flip, a new modern flip, and I'm here for it. I think that's great. So we're going to talk to an Adelaide dad of 2 who has given up his career to be a stay-at-home dad. And it's funny because he keeps saying, everyone keeps saying to me, oh, you're babysitting your kids. He's like, no, mate. They're my kids.
Yeah.
I'm helping raise them.
I think it's great. I go to the gym with a guy, Brad, and he does the same thing. His wife's the career woman doing really well, and he's there. So at 9:15 I go there. That's his time. He's dropped off the kids and done everything. He'd be early 50s. And
Brilliant.
yeah, he does it, and he does a little bit of work, but she's the breadwinner, and they have a great partnership going. So yeah, I think it's maybe more common than we think. Not that common, definitely not in the majority, but I think good on people. Yeah.
People power wins. AusPost, it's reversed the decision to not post letters in people's letterbox out in Virginia. We spoke about this earlier in the week.
It was Monday, I think.
Yeah, and guess what? The people have won.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love that. So we're going to touch base with the mayor. A little bit of an update on the algal bloom as well. There was a task force meeting and community forum held last night.
Seacliff.
Really passionate, outspoken residents having their say. So we're just going to touch base on that one as well. And also our Police Commissioner, Grant Stevens, a lot going on in the world of police. Of course, Outback killer John Murdoch, he has passed away overnight. That was still a story that I guess they've never really closed the books on, have they? Because we'll find out, did he go to the grave not saying anything about that murder?
Absolutely. And also yesterday we had the submissions for Jason Doig, that tragic shooting that occurred some 18 months or so ago. And I know that really rocked the police community. So we'll talk to him about that. He'll be in the studio. So looking forward to catching up with the police commissioner a little bit later this morning.
And I was going through TikTok with my kids last night, as we do, and I've come across this story. It's I will play it after the short break, but I want you to think about random acts of kindness.
Oh, I like that.
Do you ever, do a random act of kindness?
Yeah, if I see some homeless people in the street, I'll often give them some money, or the big issue, those people selling the big issue, I'll often buy ones there and give cash and stuff like that. So I'm trying to think something more significant though. Yeah, it's a good one though, but I try and do that kind of thing. Or I'll often, people at work across the road or here, coffees and that kind of thing, but I probably need to do more. We always should do more, shouldn't we?
So if I'm out and about doing sunrise in the morning, I will often out with my cameraman, one of us will go out and get a coffee. So if it's my turn to get a coffee, and wherever we are, if I see rough sleepers, I'll often buy a coffee for them.
That's a great idea.
Because I think, it's very early, it's very cold and you're obviously in a tough position. So I'll do that quite often.
That's good.
Interestingly, though, I reckon more times than not, they actually say, no, I don't want it, which is, I find a little bit interesting.
Maybe.
And then I'm like, I'm sorry, I hope I didn't make you
feel uncomfortable or embarrassed.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. It might be a bit of that. It might be a pride thing. Could be a bit of that.
Let's play this clip, though. Okay, so Christy Whelan, she is an actress that is in Adelaide at the moment. She's at the theatre. She's at a coffee shop the other day with her husband. Let's play this clip.
Adelaide Diaries. Today my husband went into the coffee shop to get me a coffee, and as he was waiting, a parking inspector walked in and he was like, has anyone got a white four-wheel drive? My husband was like, yeah, me. And he goes, oh, thank God I found you. You parked illegally. I would have had to give you a ticket. Come out and I'll show you where you can park. Are these people for real?
How nice is that?
Yeah.
That is a lovely random act of kindness. Sticker lickers aren't normally that nice.
I was going to say, it sort of, shatters the theory that, we should hate all sticker lickers because whenever you see them, you're like, oh. But then, they've gone and done that. How nice is that?
Well, I had a lovely sticker licker the other day. I was at Home March in here at FIVEAA at the Square, and I've run out, I reckon it was 10 minutes, and I've come bolting out the door, ran to my car, and I was like, oh, buddy. And he goes, it's okay. You're lucky. I was just about to punch in your number plate. He said, but I can see that you've made an effort. He goes, have a great day. I was like, I could kiss you right now.
How good is that?
It's like you've won the lottery when the sticker lickers let you off. It honestly is, because it doesn't happen very often.
Nothing makes me more frustrated than when you have to pay for a parking fine. It's just so avoidable.
That you're in the wrong.
I know.
And it's your fault.
It's your fault.
You are so angry.
Yes, it just feels wrong to have to pay for it, doesn't it?
It's such wasted money.
Isn't it?
Actually makes me so angry.
Yeah, same. I'm totally in the same boat. Yeah, it's frustrating.
8223 0000. Random acts of kindness, folks. We've got a whole stack of Wallace Cinema passes to give away to all our callers that ring in and give us a story of random acts of kindness. Or maybe you just need to vent a story about a parking ticket inspector.
I love it. 18 minutes past 6 o'clock. Headlines and all of the sport on the other side of this.
Who can fix the shower?
Service today.
Who can fix the power?
Service today.
With thousands of positive reviews, it's no wonder that Service Today is the most recognised and respected home service company rated by Australians. Our licensed technicians can help with all your plumbing, electrical, heating, cooling and home security needs. So when you need reliable home services, at Service Today, the answer will always be, yes, we can.
Yes, we can, is what we say at Service Today.
Google Service Today to book one of our experts.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. Give lunch a spin at Roulette's Tavern with 10% off seniors' lunches Monday to Friday. Roulette's Tavern, next to Pal's, Kings Road, Parafield.
Healthy soil is the key to a thriving garden. Good soil needs a mix of organic matter, nutrients and biology, all of which you will find in Chock-a-Block, a new super compost from Nutrog. Chock-a-Block is a unique blend of nutrition, microbes and humates with absolutely no green waste, meaning it's consistent all year round. Chock-a-Block, easy to remember as it's literally chock-a-block full of goodness. Look out for the green and gold bale in your local hardware or garden centre.
The passing of someone close places unique stress on family and friends. At this time, Farrell and O'Neill Funerals are here to provide reassurance and peace of mind. Farrell and O'Neill offer creative guidance and advice to tailor a service that best honours your loved one. Whether a large gathering or a small, intimate service, Farrell and O'Neill share their generations of experience in tailoring a unique and meaningful farewell. Proudly SA family-owned and operated. Because it's personal.
Today's reverse ducted air conditioning systems offer so much more than just an on-off switch, which is why REQ Air Conditioning will spend as much time as you need to get familiar with all the functions and controls of your new system. It means you'll get the most out of it from the very start. No guesswork required. Stay cool, stay warm, save money and master the remote with REQ Air Conditioning and Energy Solutions. Google REQ Air Conditioning for a free in-home quote.
Get out there and give it heaps in the new Mazda BT50. Take on the toughest terrain and the biggest weekends in the top-of-the-range Mazda BT50 SP, now from $67,990 drive away. Or get the job done with the worksite-ready BT50 XT 4x4 dual-cab pickup, now from $54,990 drive away. Visit your local Mazda dealer and drive away today. T's and C's apply. See Mazda.com.au for details.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. It's game on at Hyundai with offers on new and demonstrator models. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
5AA Breakfast with Jade Robran and Tom Wren.
21 minutes past 6 o'clock on 5AA Breakfast. We are interactive. We'd love to hear from you. 8223 0000 is the number, or you can send us a text message, 0448 08 1395. And we've got a couple that are coming through at the moment, Jade, regarding the issues we were talking about, things that you may have lost.
Mm-hmm. We want to hear from you. 8223 0000. Random acts of kindness, or what is something very significant that you've lost? Mine wasn't so significant, but it certainly was a heart starter this morning. I lost my keys and I found them in the dog basket if you're just tuning in. But a big story that's happening overnight. Outback killer Bradley John Murdoch has died from throat cancer at the age of 67. Covering the story is Hayden Nelson from 7 News and Sunrise. Good morning to you, Hayden.
Morning, Tom. Morning, Jade.
So he was given the diagnosis a couple of years ago and passed away overnight. I guess that big question is, did he go to the grave in silence?
Yeah, certainly, that is the question that may yet to be answered, as revealed by my colleague Hannah Ford a few weeks ago, who was up covering the decline of Bradley John Murdoch after that diagnosis he had a couple of years ago. We know he'd been suffering throat cancer. He died at age 67 years old. He'd been in the prison system in the NT for more than 20 years since he was arrested, charged and convicted over the murder of Peter Falconio, that monstrous Outback murder between Alice Springs and Darwin. But what my colleague Hannah revealed a few weeks ago is that the most explosive revelation could still be yet to come, that while this is the end of a chapter in probably one of the most high-profile crimes in Australia's history, that he may be giving a confession of sorts or revealing new information potentially where Peter Falconio's body is beyond the grave, based on the idea that you can't sue a man, you can't prosecute, or he has been prosecuted, but you can't sue a man who's dead. So that is certainly something that we're yet to hear about through official channels, through the police, or even from Peter Falconio's family, who you really have to be feeling for. His parents, Luciano, is his father in London, who, this was the 24th anniversary just a few days ago of his son's death and of the attempted abduction of Joanne Lees. And he said that he thanked Australians for their support, but he also feared that him and his wife, they are older people now, they're in their 80s, he's 83, might die themselves without knowing where their son is. And that would just be on top of all these different chapters, all the traumatic events and terrifying events that they've had to deal with over the past 20 or so years. That would just be a very tragic end to their lives, to not know where their son is. So, yeah, that is certainly something that is in play at the moment. To say that we may still hear more is entirely possible.
All right, well, we'll follow that story really closely. Hayden, thank you so much for coming on the show this morning. You're right, it was a case that captivated the country. I remember at the time, Jess Adamson, who we worked with here in the newsroom, Jade, she covered the story, and it was just enormous. And he's right, to not have closure for those parents, you know, who are in their 80s now, would be just horrific. And
awful. Let's
hope that there was some kind of confession or, you know, revelation that can lead authorities to the whereabouts of his body, because
tiny bit of humanity in you,
yes,
you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But he's evil. So, yeah, but more will play out today. No doubt the police will probably hold a press conference and we'll learn more.
We might get a bit more on that.
But we've been talking about random acts of kindness. Sue in Mylor has called in. Good morning, Sue.
Yes, good morning. Just a little thing I saw about 3 weeks ago while I was in Coles. I was winding up with my monster shopping trolley at the checkout, and in front of me was a big burly tradie, and in front of him was this little old lady. He had a small basket, and she had probably a couple of tins of cat food and a loaf of bread and a packet of chops, and she was trying to count out the money, the coins and whatever, and he just leaned over to the checkout lady and said, "I've got it."
Oh, that's lovely. Isn't that nice?
It was so sweet, and she didn't know what to say, and he said, "Don't worry about it. It's okay. You need it more than I do." So they just put it on his card.
Oh, that's great, isn't it?
And I saw that a couple of times during COVID, but, you know, this was just really sweet, and he didn't have to do it, but she obviously didn't pay by card, and she only had this little meagre little thing of food for her and her pussycat, and he paid for it. So, yeah. It was lovely.
Love that, Sue. What a great guy.
That's a fantastic story. That warms my heart so much. Thank you, Sue, very much. We've got Ben in Seaford Meadows. Good morning to you, Ben. You've called in about parking tickets.
Yeah, I've got a story to vent. Jade and Tom, how you going?
Okay, we're here for it. Vent away.
Okay, this was between Christmas and New Year's, so a very quiet time of the year. And I went to South Terrace to park to get the free tram into the city to go see a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And we got there at about 9:45, and there's a 4-hour parking there. So I thought, all right, 4-hour parking. Anyway, so we went to the city, wife bought a dress, $100 dress, and we went to see a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Came back about 3.5 hours later, so we thought, excellent, should be fine. Came back, and then we got a parking fine on the car, $104. And we were like, what's going on? We were here, it's all fine. And then we realised we got there at 9:45, but the 4 hours doesn't actually start till 10 a.m.
So you got it before?
15 minutes, got it before that.
Oh,
and we thought, it's a quiet time of the year, what's the big deal? But
and that dampens that whole Christmas spirit, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? And you think, it's quiet time, encourage people to go to the city, come on.
Yeah.
It's not like there was people parking there to work or anything. There was much at that time of year,
He's a Scrooge.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, no, that's not cool.
That's frustrating. I remember when we were at Tin Street for Channel 9, it used to be 2-hour parking, but you'd have to change it. And if you're caught on a job, if you didn't have a park in the compound, as you know, you might be on a job for 4 or 5 hours, so you come back and you're basically riding the gauntlet to see whether or not you got a parking ticket. And so many times I had one and it was just so frustrating.
Oh, it's wasted money.
It's
I'd
just-
rather get $104 and throw it out the window. I honestly would.
It is like that, isn't it?
Yeah, I hate paying parking tickets.
Well, let's end on a positive, shall we?
Let's do it.
Act of kindness.
Act of kindness. Dean in Parafield Gardens, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. Always great to hear your friendly voice in the morning. Years ago, or many, many years ago, I used to donate blood on a regular basis. And anyway, they'd give you an hour or so to go down and donate a pint of blood, come back to work. And anyway, this young kid from Karlnumpa or somewhere, the 6-year-old child, needed a massive amount of blood, quite a few units required. And they put these tags on me, and I thought, gee, how long have I got? No, they said, no, yours the first pint of blood going into this young 6-year-old child, and yours is the most compatible, and you'll be number one. Just thought to let you know that. Anyway, the next morning they said it was a successful operation. That sort of gave me a good feeling. And then when you donate blood, you'd get a pint of stout, or a beer or whatever, and I'd have a pint of stout. And then on the way back to work, Lou Richards, the famous footy identity, had a hotel next door to the blood bank in Flinders Street in Melbourne where he used to go, and I'd get a second one on the way back to work. That's something for me. Yeah, that was many years ago, and it's a successful operation. It was sort of put a little bit of wind in my sails.
It's a great story.
It would.
Yeah, it's good to know you're helping people. So well done. That's outstanding, Dean. Thanks so much for sharing your story. Look, we had people just on recently, didn't we, about the blood bank and the need for plasma, and for more people to do it. So if you can donate, do what Dean did.
But I love that he actually got a story knowing exactly where it was going. It's played his little part. We've got to jump into the newsroom now. More stories of random acts of kindness coming up soon.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A possible shower 16 today with the 6:30 news. Good morning, I'm Mel Usher.
Hands you can trust and state-of-the-art facilities. Physio Extra, tailoring care for you. PhysioExtra.com.
Outback killer Bradley John Murdoch has died of cancer in an Alice Springs hospital at the age of 67. Murdoch was serving a life sentence for the 2001 murder of British backpacker Peter Falconio and the attempted abduction of Falconio's girlfriend Joanne Lees. His death comes just days after Falconio's father made a final plea for the killer to reveal where his son's body is buried, a secret Murdoch took to the grave. The push for a federal response to our toxic algal bloom continues to grow. A community forum held at the Brighton and Seacliff Yacht Club last night attracted a large number of residents. The Greens' Sarah Hanson-Young was there, telling 5AA the impact shouldn't be underestimated.
One of the panellists said, from a human perspective, the human impact of this and the long-term impact may very well be much bigger than COVID ever was. And I think that's a very poignant issue, a poignant comment.
A government task force has started mapping the road to recovery from the algal bloom. The panel is set to be provided with samples collected from 17 sites, including West Lakes, the Port River and the Padawalunga, to better understand the effects on the ecosystem. A large hydroponic cannabis crop has been uncovered at a house in Two Wells. Police coming across the setup yesterday while visiting the property for another issue. 62 plants and prescribed equipment has been seized as investigations continue. Well, Donald Trump claims the United States will be given full access into Indonesia as part of a new trade deal. The US president announced the Pacific country had agreed to a 19% tariff rate on its exports to the United States. He also claims Indonesia has committed to purchasing $15 billion worth of US energy and 50 Boeing jets. Experts say artificial intelligence is causing students to forget what they've just learned. Gabrielle Hodson has the story.
Artificial intelligence is being used in schools to correct spelling and
grammar, refine writing, draft emails and develop lesson plans. But experts from the Central Queensland University have told News Corp it's weakening memory and reasoning abilities, originality, and comes with some ethical concerns. They fear students using AI for essays are then struggling to outline their arguments in class. In the US, an MIT study also found using AI to write essays led to a 47% decline in active neural connections, with ChatGPT users suffering the lowest brain engagement, consistently underperforming in neural, linguistic and behavioural tests.
And Katy Perry has been granted a permanent restraining order against a man who keeps showing up at her home in Santa Barbara. The 43-year-old has visited the property several times in recent months. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's is overstocked with demos that must be cleared. Upgrade your vehicle today. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Here's Corey Norris.
Good morning, Mel. Port Adelaide faces some selection headaches ahead of Saturday's trip to Launceston. Jason Horne-Francis's season is over after having surgery on a broken foot, and captain Connor Rosie is unlikely to take on the Hawks with a broken hand. After a 7-goal haul in the Sandful, Dylan Williams has put up his hand. Christian Moraes and Joe Berry are also in the mix. Melbourne coach Simon Goodwin says the league needs to come together and work out how to resolve the issue of umpire contact. It comes after Carlton's Adam Chera became the first player to be charged by the tribunal with careless contact with umpires since guidelines tightened in early July. Goodwin has told Footy Classified the league can't just keep fining players.
I'd hate to see the amount of fines that players are getting, and I reckon they'd probably be getting sick of it. Can we come together to make the required changes to help the safety of the umpires? Hopefully we will have a mature conversation, sit down there, get it sorted, because at the moment there's congestion, there's wrestling in the ruck, there's so many things that we can change to help this situation.
North Melbourne ruckman Tristan Sherry has lost his bid to overturn a 3-game ban for knocking out Melbourne's Tom Sparrow. World number 1 golfer Scotty Scheffler is questioning why he plays the sport ahead of this week's Open Championship. He's been at the top of the rankings for more than 2 years, but says now it's not fulfilling life and he'll give it up if it impacts his ability to be a good father. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cosy. Stay with CMAX. Visit cmax.com.au now and register your interest today.
A top of 16 today with a possible shower. Showers easing tomorrow, also 16. Friday, partly cloudy, 15, and Saturday, 16. Right now, it's 10 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
It's game on at Hyundai with offers on new and demonstrator models. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
5AA Breakfast with Jade Robran and Tom Wren.
It is 24 minutes to 7 o'clock on this Wednesday, July the 16th. A foggy start to your day. I hope you're managing to avoid it. Give us a call if you're getting it quite significantly wherever you are. We'd love to hear your story, or you can send us a text 0448 08 1395. We are interactive and getting plenty of text messages this morning. 0448 08 1395. A bit about the fog. Flights not affected so far. Jetstar 128 from Denpasar and a freight plane from Sydney have just landed in the past few minutes, but plenty of other texts coming in too this morning, Jade.
Yes, we've been talking about things that you've lost, and Quinton says, many years ago, early 90s, I lost my wedding ring, was about 6 months old. It was eventually found in the bones of a huge pot of gravy at a restaurant I was working at the time. Thanks to the night chefs for digging through it. But in hindsight, I probably should have left it there.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh. Sorry,
It
Quinton.
didn't work out so well for Quinton by the sounds of it, but thank you for sharing your story. Raymond wants to know, question for the weather segment. I'm taking the kids go-karting at the Bend tomorrow about mid-morning. Should I expect wet conditions? We will ask the team for you, Quinton.
We'll do that. Well, what a great activity. My boys have been into that before, so I like that.
My kids love go-karting.
It's great, isn't it?
I do too, but I get a little bit of white line fever as soon as I get behind a wheel of a race car. I take things a little bit too seriously, trying to go a little bit too fast. But we've been talking about random acts of kindness on the back of this clip that I saw on TikTok last night, an actress that is in Adelaide and has been blown away by how nice we are here.
Adelaide Diaries. Today my husband went into the coffee shop to get me a coffee, and as he was waiting, a parking inspector walked in and he was like, has anyone got a white 4-wheel drive? My husband was like, yeah, me. And he goes, oh, thank God I found you. You parked illegally. I would have had to give you a ticket. Come out and I'll show you where you can park. Are these people for real?
How good is that? She couldn't believe it, could
Are
she?
these people for real?
Yeah.
We are just the nicest people on the planet here in South Australia.
It's good, isn't it?
Oh, sometimes. He is the minority, that sticker licker. What a lovely bloke. I'd love to know who he is because he is in the minority. They do not let people off tickets very often. But we're talking about random acts of kindness. Have you
experienced one?
Have you experienced one?
Or
maybe
done one?
You've done one.
Yeah.
8223 0000. Ring in and let us know. We've got a whole stack of Wallace Cinema passes that we're giving away to everyone that calls in because it is the perfect weather to go and check out a blockbuster movie. But Tommy,
yes.
Have you been seeing trams? They're rolling through Adelaide at the moment and they're splashed with graphic warnings about red wine and cancer risks, which raises questions about mixed messaging coming from the government departments. 1 minute, they want you visiting the beautiful Barossa or McLaren Vale or Adelaide Hills, our gorgeous wine regions.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's this health message that they're wanting to promote as well. Bit of an oxymoron, perhaps.
Yes, so are people getting confused? We've got the SA's Stunning Simple Pleasures campaign, which is all about getting out and experiencing our incredible wines. But you're right, Jade, there's also health messages that are going out there too. So are people getting confused?
Fabiano Mincella from McLaren Vale, he is a winemaker there and joins us now. Fabiano, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're good. As a winemaker, how did you feel seeing these ads?
Well, to see it, to be honest, the first time I saw it, because I'm down here, I'm not up in the city, I did see it online, and I was seeing just positive acceptance of the messaging with no criticism. I thought that wasn't on, considering the state we live in. So I posted something online, and it seemed to have gained a lot of traction. I'm glad that I brought it to light, because I do think it's potentially an issue.
So do you think it is perhaps, or potentially confusing people or, sending a message, don't drink wine because of the health risks that are involved? And is it affecting people coming to you and tourism?
Well, I can't say there's been any immediate impact of the campaign, but yeah, I can say for sure that messaging that links moderate alcohol consumption to cancer will have a negative effect on our product. But for sure, also it is upsetting that there is a confusion. On one hand, as you guys said, you've got the SA government trying to show support for SA wine and tourism. Yeah, we've got advertising on public transport telling us alcohol causes cancer. And then on top of that, they use a glass of red as the poster boy.
You said you posted something online and you're glad you did. What kind of reaction have you had since you've gone with your post?
Well, yesterday I think Advertiser posted something, as well as wine titles last week. Wine Australia and Cancer Council SA didn't comment to the original article. They waited a week, so I think that's something there. But yeah, it does seem odd that wine was targeted. I mean, it's South Australia's third largest economic driver, pulling in $1.8 billion annually. And then I feel Cancer Council haven't done themselves justice by choosing a glass of red when in that category it's people could consume the safest. It's culturally consumed slowly with food and, socially around the table. So I'm not sure if they're going to get their message across exactly how they want.
Just separately. No, go ahead, Fabiano.
Yep. Well, I'm sure alcohol does have a role in cancer. However, to reduce a glass of wine to a single component of ethanol does seem to be an injustice. We do, as I mentioned, we do need to take context of consumption into the discussion. I just feel that this campaign blurs the line between heavy drinking and responsible moderate consumption. We shouldn't forget, we've been drummed in over the last few decades, all the studies which favour red wine for our health. Recently, there's been a Spanish study for the prevention with Mediterranean diet, and obviously wine is a major component of the Mediterranean diet. And in that study specifically, they said that it can reduce cardiovascular events by up to 30%. So you've got one saying that it reduces cancer by a large factor, and then another saying that it is cancer.
And Fabiano, just in terms of the tourism campaign itself, that in isolation, the SA Stunning Simple Pleasures campaign, do you think that's a positive one? Have you been happy with what you've seen there from that perspective?
To be honest, I only saw it now because it brought this all to light.
Yep.
But yeah, I imagine it's a good thing. But yeah, no, I haven't looked into it too deeply yet.
And what about the wine industry more generally? How is it going at the moment? I know it obviously probably was difficult during COVID, etc. How have things been? You're in the McLaren region.
Yeah.
Are things tracking along okay generally?
Not really. We're probably in the worst position we've been for the last, since the early 80s, I imagine. I'm not that old, so I can't comment, but I think it's in its worst state since then. It was brought up from the COVID era. Globally, obviously, the economy is not doing that great. Has it picked up? Maybe slightly, but it's still pretty bad out there. McLaren Vale, just talking about this region, I think we'll be okay in the long run. We're still a premium area of South Australia, and obviously a beautiful place to visit. But yeah, no, the industry is on its knees at the moment, and then something like this comes along, but seems a bit of a slap in the face.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, I know that I love getting out and about, and particularly my wife, she loves getting to the wineries as well. I think it's so important, and it is something that is so unique to South Australia, the ability to head to the Barossa or McLaren Vale, the Adelaide Hills. There are just so many places you can get to. Tell us, give your place a plug if you want, Fabiano. We'd love to know where can we go, because it's always nice to support great local wineries.
For the whole experience?
Yeah.
Geez, there's so many different places. Next door to me, we've got Down the Rabbit Hole, obviously.
Beautiful. Love it there.
Good wine.
Yep.
Good wine there and good views. Then I love the Yangara experience. It really takes it to another level. Where else?
That's a good start.
Yeah, I don't want to pick too many. I love all the wines from McLaren Vale.
Yeah. There are some sensational ones. But I think you make a good point. I think hopefully people are able to make the distinction, between responsible consumption and enjoying a wine, which is what, I think the vast majority of people do. And, I know these adverts do have a place, but, it's for that excessive consumption. And it does seem, potentially a little bit unfair that it's targeted wine, but I think hopefully people do realise that wine is a really pleasurable, great experience and social thing to do when it's done appropriately, which I think all people do, or most people do.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'd like to think all people do, but there's always the outlier.
Of course.
Yeah, no, wine is definitely, we shouldn't forget that when it's consumed safely, it's a great drink.
Absolutely.
I hope everyone tonight gets into a plate of pasta and a glass of wine, and it'll all be good.
Perfect weather for it. That is definitely right. Thank you, Fabiano, for coming on this morning. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, guys.
Fabiano Minchella there, who is a McLaren Vale winemaker. We have got to take a break here on 5AA Breakfast. We're going to have a chat to the Weather Bureau in a moment, also talk to South Australian Police. But before we do that, we'll have a look at what is happening with the roads out there this morning and see if things are going along okay given the foggy conditions.
Thanks, Tom, and morning, Jade. Damp roads this morning with overnight showers and a fair bit of Felix fog around too, particularly on the freeway, pretty well from the bottom of the freeway up through to Stirling. Lots of fog, so do take it easy. Got a breakdown too to look out from the freeway, Old Kerry Gully Road, and getting busy at the moment, the intersection of Anzac Highway and Marion Road for the intersection upgrade works. Early morning cameras, Addison Road, Pennington, got one spotted this morning, Hart Street at Glanville. Budding songwriters from kindergarten to year 12, it's time to enter the ACMF National Songwriting Competition. See how to enter at acmf.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Recapture your sense of adventure today in the award-winning RAV4 at the new Jarvis Toyota Brighton Road, Somerton Park. With class-leading safety as standard, enjoy improved fuel economy with RAV4's leading two-wheel drive or all-wheel drive hybrid electric models. RAV4 is in stock and ready to go. Come and experience the difference and take a test drive today at the new Jarvis Toyota, Brighton Road, Somerton Park.
Feeling
overwhelmed and stressed? Struggling to focus? Caruso's new L-theanine 400 provides fast relief in just 3 hours. Caruso's new L-theanine 400 helps relieve symptoms of stress, supports mental clarity and calms the mind without the drowsiness. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and stress is clouding your mind, it's time to take back control with Caruso's new L-theanine 400. Caruso's new L-theanine 400 is available now at leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Now, if you're planning an event, whether it's a stylish boardroom lunch, a coastal wedding, a festival in the hills, or a glamorous gala dinner, YSG Catering has got you covered. A trusted South Aussie family business turning moments into memories. From small meetings to major events, their expert team works with you to design a menu that's as unique as your occasion. Thoughtfully tailored and beautifully presented. You can host it at one of their 5 stunning venues or let them bring the magic to you. I love that. The fact that they can bring it all to you makes things so much convenient if that's what you need. They're known for their attention to detail and their warm, down-to-earth service. And YSG is the go-to team for weddings, conferences, festivals, and so much more. YSG Catering, from the boardroom to the ballroom, from the hills to the beach. Visit the website yoursaygroup.com.au.
Wherever you are and whatever you need, the caring collective of women at White Lady Funerals can help you create a meaningful and beautiful send-off. White Lady Funerals. Let our strength help you find yours.
When you book a hearing test with Can Do Hearing, you'll be seen by an accredited audiologist. Can Do Hearing is South Australian and we're not owned by a hearing aid manufacturer. This means we only recommend what's going to work for you, and your options are almost endless. Plus the extra bonus, our profits go to Can Do for Kids, supporting local kids living with hearing and vision loss. Book an appointment with Can Do Hearing today. candohearing.com.au. That sounds better.
It's game on at Hyundai with offers on new and demonstrator models. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
5AA Breakfast with Jade Robran and Tom Wren.
And it is coming up to 10 minutes to 7 o'clock here on 5AA Breakfast, Wednesday, the 16th of July. I hope you're having a fantastic morning wherever you are listening. We mentioned it's been a little bit foggy out there this morning, and to talk more to that, let's have a chat to Mark Analak from the Bureau of Meteorology. Mark, good morning to you. It was quite foggy as I came into the city a bit over an hour ago now. Is it still looking that way out there?
Good morning, Tom. Yeah, there's quite a bit of low cloud around the metropolitan area, presenting as fog in parts of the suburbs. So I think we're just looking at the Adelaide airport there. The cloud is at 200 feet, which is very low. So anywhere really away from the coastline, we're likely to see areas of fog around the metropolitan area. This afternoon, that fog is expected to clear later, in the next couple of hours or so, as the sun comes up, and we're heading for a top of 16 degrees. There is a slight risk of a light shower, but I think as we move into the afternoon, that becomes less likely, and we should be in for a mostly fine afternoon. So 16 degrees this afternoon. A cold front will come through overnight tonight, so we'll see showers tomorrow morning before they ease later in the day tomorrow, 16 degrees. And Friday looks like a sort of a fine day and a top of 15 degrees, Tom.
Not looking too badly. We just had one off the text line, actually, Mark, asking for tomorrow, one for the weather segment. Am I going to be able to take the kids to the Bend tomorrow around mid-morning? Should we expect wet conditions or will it be dry? It's quite specific. Just wondering.
Very specific. And I think heading across the other side of the hills there to Tailem Bend will be a really, really positive move. There might be a bit of moisture on the ground, but I think once you get out there, it should be mostly fine for the rest of the day, I would think. The showers are expected mainly during the early morning, so, it mightn't be too bad.
Okay, that sounds like it's going to be pretty good. Fantastic stuff, Mark. You have a wonderful day.
Cheers, thank you.
Mark Analak there from the Bureau joining us here on 5AA Breakfast. We'll keep on moving. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad is on the line. Kimberly, good morning to you.
Morning, Tom, and morning, Jade.
Now, what can you tell us? A man's been arrested at Eastwood overnight.
Yeah, it was just before 7 o'clock last night. We were called to a fast food restaurant on Green Hill Road. We received numerous calls from the public about a man approaching people in cars in a car park and acting aggressively towards them. 2 drivers reported having panels damaged after the man had allegedly kicked the cars. So we responded and arrested the man at the scene. A 43-year-old man from Enfield was charged with disorderly behaviour and 2 counts of property damage. So he's appearing in court today. But we believe that some drivers left the scene prior to patrol's arrival. Just asking if anyone else had their vehicles damaged during that incident, if they could report that matter to us, if they wanted to call the police assistance line on 131 444 to make that report.
Yeah, that's great advice there. And also there's been some graffiti, unfortunately, overnight at West Croydon. Yeah,
this is about 2 o'clock this morning. We responded to reports of a man was doing some graffiti at the West Croydon railway station. When patrols arrived, the man was still on the platform. He had paint marks all over his hands and sleeves, and we also found some fresh graffiti on the platform and discarded paint markers. So a 38-year-old man from Allenby Gardens, he's been arrested for marking graffiti. He's appearing in court in August to read those charges.
All right. Well, thank you so much for bringing us up to date with all of those matters. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad. Kimberly, you have a lovely day.
Thank you, you too.
Kimberly Broad there from South Australian Police. Well, the RBA's been in the headlines, as we know, pretty much over the last week or so, and I dare say for most of the year, a couple of interest rate cuts that have happened throughout the year, and there is also now something that may be happening that is of some significance. The Reserve Bank finding it would be in the public interest to remove surcharging on EFTPOS, MasterCard and Visa cards and cap interchange fees paid by businesses. For more on this story, we're joined by Sally Tyndall. Sally, good morning to you.
Good morning, Tom. How are you?
Really well, thank you. Sally is, of course, with CanStar Data Insights and is the director there. Tell us about this story. What does it mean for people out there?
Yeah, so the RBA came out yesterday and said that it thinks that banning surcharges on Visa, MasterCard and EFTPOS, credit and debit cards, is in the public interest. It's put out a consultation paper, but it's made it very clear about what its opinion is, and that's to kick those surcharges to the curb. And now this is probably music to many millions of Australians' ears, because a recent survey we did found that 75% of Australians wanted that those surcharges banned. They're just pesky fees, right? People they just irritate people. It's sometimes not so much about the 10 or 20 cents that they're getting charged, but rather just the principle of it. I think that some people would just rather it be in the prices and make it one price that's clear and very easy for everyone to understand and seemingly fair. There are currently rules in place that do manage surcharges. But I think a lot of Australians don't know what those rules are and also don't know how to work out whether they're getting excessively slugged or not. And so this just really takes that grey away. The RBA is also, as you said, capping interchange fees. That means nothing to you and me, really. But at the back end of those payments, there's something called an interchange fee, and it happens between the card providers and the payment system providers, which then get passed on to the retailers, that then get passed on to us. It's just the cost of, doing that transaction. The RBA has said that they're too high. It wants to lower the cap. That there is a cap already on place, but it wants to make it even lower. They're hoping that this will minimise the fallout for small businesses, who are ultimately the ones that are going to be faced with a very tough choice when that surcharge ban comes in about whether they hike their prices or whether they absorb their cost. And that's where, I think the sticking point is. I think that's where the debate needs to happen about exactly what the impact will be on small businesses.
It's a really good point that you make. And look, I know I fritter away my money terribly. I'm shocking, Sally, with money. But it is so annoying when you see a surcharge come up for a purchase that you've made and you're like, why am I paying an extra 9 cents or whatever the case may be on top of, my purchase? And how much does that accrue to be over the year, do you think, for the average Aussie that they might be paying in surcharges each year?
Oh, it's a ridiculous amount. So the RBA is estimating at $1.2 billion. That's across all different card surcharges. That's a huge amount of money. For some people, an average Australian, that might be $60. There's lots of people who, are bigger spenders. They spend a lot more at businesses that might charge a surcharge. For some Australians, that would be running well into the hundreds of dollars a year that they're shelling out. Now, let's be clear, though. banning the surcharges won't mean that we'll have an extra $1.2 billion back in our pockets collectively, because the surcharge, like the cost of doing that transaction, will still exist. And in many cases, we'll probably see the cost of goods and services rise ever so slightly to account for that. And that's, as it should be. We shouldn't have small businesses carrying that burden. As I said before, the RBA is trying to minimise those costs and make it more competitive, but at the end of the day, there's still going to be a cost attached to paying electronically, and someone's got to pay for it throughout the chain.
Yep, so it's just a case of who's going to actually have to wear that cost down the track. Sally, as well, we saw with great interest last week that the Reserve Bank decided not to lower the cash rate, currently sitting at 3.85%. Do you anticipate that is something that may come down when they meet again next month?
Yeah, it's absolutely a live option when they meet on the 11th and 12th of August. The RBA said it wasn't that they were arguing, or they weren't debating, I think is probably the better word, debating the concept of cutting the cash rate further. It's just a matter of timing. So I read into that another cash rate cut is coming. You can't say for certain, but I'd say it's a very strong possibility. And the RBA really is very focused on the quarterly CPI figures, the quarterly inflation figures. They're out at the end of this month. And so when they get to that meeting on the 11th and 12th of August, they'll have the latest round of inflation figures. Hopefully that shows that we're continuing to make progress. That's certainly what we're expecting. And then they could very well go through with a cash rate cut as soon as the 11th and 12th of August. But what I would say is that if you've got a mortgage, you don't bake that in until it hits your bank account, because we only have to look to the last meeting to know that nothing is guaranteed.
Yeah, absolutely. Fascinating analysis, and be intriguing to see whether or not that does happen. Let's hope it does, for the sake of all those mortgage holders out there that are hoping for just a little bit of relief so they can have some more money in the hip pocket. Sally, as always, love it when you come on the show. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
Sally Tyndall there from CanStar Data Insights. She is the director there. We're going to take a short break here on 5AA Breakfast, then we'll head across to the newsroom. Back with plenty more on the other side of the 7 o'clock news.
Hello, this is Roger from Optical by National Pharmacies.
Hey, is there a 20% off sale?
There's no sale.
Oh, I missed it.
No, you can still save 20%.
What?
It's just not a sale.
Then what is it?
It's just 20% off frames, lenses and sunglasses.
So like a sale?
Yeah.
Oh.
Not really.
Oh.
You just need a National Pharmacies membership. You can join in store today.
Oh, a membership.
Yeah, with Optical by National Pharmacies, you've got this. Terms and conditions apply.
Breaking up is never easy. And when a relationship does end, there's so much to work through. What happens with the house, the car, the kids, your future? It's hard to know where to start. And that's where Anderson Solicitors will help. In just 90 minutes, Andersons will create your personalised family roadmap, explaining your options and outlining a clear plan for the next steps. And all for a set fee. Anderson Solicitors. Help when you need it.
Do you live in the western suburbs? From the airport to Outer Harbour, and want the very best air conditioning for your home? Then look no further than Mannix and our big, blue, air, solar and warehouse sales outlet on Findon Road, Woodville South, right next to the Woodville Fire Station. Buy air conditioning units to spare parts direct from our warehouse, or get a free quote for a fully installed system designed for your needs. All from the SA name you know and trust.
When you think of single malt Scotch whisky, you might imagine Scotland's green hills, her fresh babbling brooks, and rows of oak barrels. But you can get the same feeling right here in Adelaide when you walk down the aisles at Powell's. Sam and Jamie from Parafield Airport Liquor Store know every drop on the shelf. They can guide you through Scotland's best whisky labels and the best from around the globe, all under one roof. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Local news and information first. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
The possible showers 16 today with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Mel Usher.
Physio, Pilates, hydro, massage, podiatry and exercise classes. Physio Extras Holistic Care. physioextra.com.
Bradley John Murdoch has died. The 67-year-old spent more than 20 years behind bars for the murder of British backpacker Peter Falconio and has taken to the grave the details of what he did with Peter's body back in 2001. Murdoch passed away from throat cancer. The Greens are demanding more action from both the state and federal governments in the wake of the algal bloom crisis. A community forum attended by hundreds was held at the Brighton and Seacliff Yacht Club last night, with some demanding a royal commission into the issue. Sarah Hanson-Young was in attendance and has told 5AA the Premier should be demanding action from Canberra.
I really think Peter Malinowskis, who's currently on holidays, needs to come home and pick up the phone and call the Prime Minister and say, look, South Australia can't do this alone. This is an emergency. We need this to be declared a national disaster and we need your help.
A large cannabis crop has been found in the northern suburbs. Police uncovered the hydroponic setup at a house in Two Wells while visiting the property for an unrelated incident. 62 cannabis plants and prescribed equipment have been seized. Inquiries are ongoing. The state government is launching an education campaign online regarding sexual violence. Minister Katrine Hildyard says it's being rolled out on social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram.
From today, we'll be sharing images and videos to help raise awareness and start those all-important conversations about the many different forms of sexual violence and about consent and respect in healthy sexual relationships.
One of Australia's closest neighbours, Indonesia, is the latest country to ink a deal with the US president. Washington correspondent Lauren Tomasi has the details.
Donald Trump has called this a great deal for everybody, but the Indonesian government is yet to confirm the agreement. The US president outlining the details on social media, saying the Pacific country has committed to purchasing $15 billion in US energy, along with 50 Boeing jets, and that there will be open access to the Indonesian market. In return, Indonesia will be stung with a 19% tariff.
They are giving us access into Indonesia, which we never had. And the other part is they are going to pay 19% and we are going to pay nothing.
That deal, as Australia is yet to make headway on a trade agreement and the Prime Minister is yet to meet face-to-face with Donald Trump.
And President Trump has responded to claims he was cited in sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's documents. He says the claims were made up by former President Barack Obama, ex-FBI Director James Comey, and the Biden administration. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's is overstocked with demos that must be cleared. Upgrade your vehicle today. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
It's over to Corey Norris.
Good morning, Mel. The Crows are set to make at least 2 changes for Sunday's clash with Gold Coast. Nick Murray is expected to return to replace Jordan Butts, who's recovering from a punctured lung, while Luke Pedler is tipped to cover Braden Cook, who was concussed. Veteran midfielder Matt Crouch will play in the Sandful after recovering from a hip injury. Essendon captain Zach Merritt has reaffirmed his commitment to the struggling Bombers. It follows speculation that 29-year-old should move to another club in a bid to be part of a premiership-winning team. But Merritt has told Fox Footy he's all in.
Play a team sport. If I wanted to be individual, I'd go and play tennis or golf. I think, playing footy, you play for the ultimate prize, and got a lot of motivation, desire to dig in and keep working with these guys, and seeing debutantes come through and show promise is the exciting part for me. That gives me hope and optimism moving forward.
North Melbourne ruckman Tristan Sherry has lost his bid to overturn a 3-game ban for knocking out Melbourne's Tom Sparrow, while Brisbane's Zach Bailey's ban was also upheld, who'll miss this week's game against the Western Bulldogs. As Australia celebrates a stunning Test Series clean sweep in the West Indies, there's fears it could be the last one Australia plays in the Caribbean. The ICC is reportedly considering moving to a 2-tier system, which would see the Aussies and Windies no longer face in Test cricket. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Morning there. Roads are damp this morning from overnight showers. Take it easy on the drive. And a fair bit of Felix fog around this morning too, particularly through the hills. The freeway's got a fair bit of fog from the bottom all the way through to Stirling and Crayford. Take it easy if you're heading that way. Broken down car making it even more treacherous this morning. That's on Old Kerry Gully Road on the freeway as well. Busy already for works at Prospect, Churchill Road near Clifton Streets, with a camera Brighton Road at Somerton Park. The IKEA sale is now on. Enjoy up to 60% of hundreds of products. Head in-store or to ikea.com.au before everyone finds out. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cosy. Stay with CMAX. Visit cmax.com.au now and register your interest today.
A possible shower for your Wednesday with a top of 16. Showers easing tomorrow, also 16. Friday, partly cloudy, 15. 16 again on Saturday. Right now, it's 10 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
Setting the agenda for South Australia. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Then I saw her face.
It's game on at Hyundai with offers on new and demonstrator models. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
5AA Breakfast with Jade and Tom Wren.
I'm a believer, I couldn't leave her if I tried.
It is 7 minutes past 7 o'clock on this Wednesday, July the 16th. Hope you're having a great start to your morning. Now, Jade, unfortunately, has had to go home. There has been some unexpected and fairly tragic news, very tragic news. There's been a death in her family, so we wish Jade all the very best, but I will be with you for the next couple of hours through until 9 o'clock this morning, but unfortunately Jade will not be with us for the rest of the show. Hope you're okay, Jade, if you're driving home listening right now, and she'll hopefully be back tomorrow, but we'll wait to see. So, that's very, very sad news. So, Jade, we love you and hope that you are okay with the rest of the family. We've got a big couple of hours coming up here on 5AA Breakfast, and there's a lot to talk about. I'm looking forward to a chat with Chris Davies. Horrible issue, albeit, that we have to talk about. He's the Port Adelaide Football General Manager, about racism. We saw those disgusting messages that were sent to Jace Burgoyne over the weekend, so we'll talk about that and a few other issues football-wise. We're also going to talk Algal Bloom. There was a significant meeting held at Seacliff last night at the Sailing Club, so we'll cover that off. Australia Post has reversed its decision to send post to residents in Virginia, so we'll discuss that. We're going to go around the courts with Sean Fuster a little bit later this hour. Looking forward to that. Gen Z dads staying home to support the family while the mums work. That's a bit of a change from what we've seen, over the past 50 years. But I mentioned a little bit earlier that a guy I go to the gym with, that's exactly what happens. And we're also going to have the police Commissioner in the studio just after 8:30, so I can't wait to catch up with Grant Stevens. A lot to discuss with him. But one of the other stories we have been covering in the last couple of days, we had Blair Boyer on the show yesterday, the Housing Minister, talking about the major safety upgrades that are happening in Benson Court. This is at Walkerville Terrace in Gilberton. Now, this is off the back of a staggering amount of call-outs that happened there, 367 in just over 2 years, and unfortunately the shocking stabbing death of a man that occurred last month. To discuss more about this, we're joined by the Walkerville Housing Mayor, Melissa Jones. Melissa, thank you so much for your time this morning. Really appreciate it.
Good morning, Tom.
Tell us, these safety upgrades, I'm guessing, in your opinion, long overdue.
Look, completely long overdue. We have been advocating for an upgrade for these property at Benson Court for some time. I've spoken to the local member, Lucy Hood, about it as well. So I'm very happy, obviously, to hear that things are happening, and a council has been advocating for that, obviously on the back of tragic circumstances. Mm-hmm. We've seen, we've got other similar properties in Walkerville, and I know it's a little while ago, but in 2020, Mella Court had a similar incident there, and on the back of that, we saw significant amounts of money and security upgrades happening there, which significantly turned that property around, and we want to see the same happen here for Benson Court. And we've got another property with similar, it's a walk-up flat style, so they're not that easy to tenant, and that, I think, has driven some of the issues with the mix of tenants that have gone into these properties. But Elliott Lodge, is another one that we've also received complaints about. Thankfully, no tragic circumstances there yet, but we want to avert those sorts of things by fixing them up and being proactive.
And that's the thing, isn't it, Melissa? And I think it's great that we're getting these safety upgrades, albeit after, a horrific incident. But is that the fear that by just, solving an issue at one place, you're just going to potentially be transferring the problem elsewhere?
Well, there is that potential, of course. And so there does need to be a bit of a holistic look, I think, at these properties that have been probably have received less love and care over the years than they probably could have. Obviously, Benson Court is one of them. I mean, there's already been some works done in that area, but a month or so ago, if you looked at that property, it was pretty derelict. So we're very happy that we've had good dialogue with the Minister now and with the Housing Trust. We've got a regular meeting set up with them to make sure these things are happening, that there are improvements happening to Benson Court.
And talk us through the safety upgrades. What is that going to entail? And are residents, can they be assured at Benson Court that things are going to be, safer for them moving forward?
Well, I certainly hope so. That's the reason why these upgrades are being undertaken by the government and the Housing Trust. So we've got better lighting in the area, CCTV in that building area, the moving on of disruptive tenants, and a housing officer dedicated to look at the housing mix, the tenant mix in that building, other fencing upgrades around the area, looking at the laundries that are at the back that have become a bit of an area for people just to gather and antisocial behaviour happening. So all of these things are really within the remit of the Housing Trust, and so Council is there to make sure, I suppose, that things are happening and that what the government and the Housing Trust says is going to happen will happen, because our community is very strongly talking to us about their safety concerns. So while these things aren't in our remit, we have our community who's very worried and wants to see this work happen. Within Council's remit, we're going to assist with the bins there at the property, because the bins, it becomes untidy. There's a lot of bins, there's a lot of tenancies. So we'll do what we can within that waste remit, which is, of course, within Council. And then beyond that, where it is Council's remit, we're looking at installing CCTV further along Walkerville Terrace, upgrading lighting in the area, having a closer relationship with SAPOL and with our community in terms of safety forums, and also looking at some targeted security patrols around the area to just keep an eye on things and be able to react quickly if we see anything.
Well, it sounds like things are definitely in place, and I'm sure the residents very much appreciate the work that is being undertaken now to ensure their safety moving forward. Melissa, thank you so much for coming on 5AA Breakfast this morning.
Thanks, Tom.
Melissa Jones, who is the Walkerville Mayor, talking about the Walkerville Housing Trust issue that has been ongoing for some time now. We're going to check out what is happening with the roads right now. Let's take a check of the 5AA traffic.
Morning there. Roads are damp from overnight showers and a fair bit of fog around this morning, particularly through the hills and up through the freeway. Above the tunnels is heavy near Crafers and Stirling, and got a breakdown on the freeway to Old Kerry Gully. We've got speeds reduced around there at the moment. Look out for works this morning, which is slow Marion Road at the Anzac Highway intersection, and got a camera spotted this morning, Main Road at Blackwood. South Australia's caravan camping and outdoor sale is back July 24 to 27 at the Adelaide Showground. Gear up for your next road trip and get your tickets online. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
It can happen at any time, more often than you think. Suddenly, through illness or accident, you could lose the capacity to manage your financial or personal affairs. What happens next? Who makes medical or health decisions? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers will answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com, Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
There was this huge spider.
Really silly place for a letterbox.
Seriously, there were cows all over the road.
At FIVEAA Panel Services, we've heard it all. But the one thing we hear often is, when will my car be ready? In most cases, we can start work straight away, thanks to our state-of-the-art workshop and highly skilled team. Ask your insurance company for FIVEAA Panel Services. With over 45 years' experience, we'll get you back on the road sooner. FIVEAApanel.com.au.
Polio may be all but eradicated in Australia, but its effects are not completely gone. Symptoms like weakness, joint pain and fatigue may still persist. So, if you suffered from polio as a child, you may be experiencing symptoms right now and not even be aware that this is the cause. Polio SA is a support group for post-polio syndrome. There is no cure, but there are recommended management strategies. So on Tuesday, the 29th of July, for one day only, Polio SA is holding a workshop where you can learn to get more out of your health professionals, self-management strategies and make local connections. Come along for lunch and meet Dr. Gupta, who will also be there from 1 p.m. to answer any questions and also to give advice. Polio SA is committed to making life for polio survivors as comfortable as possible. The workshop is being held at the West Adelaide Football Club, and that's from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So visit the website Polio SA and register right now to attend.
For those whose pool is the main feature of their yard, Walco offer a special mesh cover to keep debris and leaves out while making your pool area look stunning all through winter. Join the great cover-up and ask Walco about their stylish new mesh pool covers. walco.com.au.
Know the news with Adelaide's 7 News. Don't miss Adelaide's leading news hour tonight at 6 o'clock.
It's game on at Hyundai with offers on new and demonstrator models. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
5AA Breakfast with Jade Robran and Tom Wren.
Coming up to 18 minutes past 7 o'clock here on 5AA Breakfast. It is a bit of a foggy morning out there. Send us your text messages at 0448 08 1395 if you're seeing any out there or it's particularly thick where you are. Or give me a call, 8223 0000 is the number. But now we're going to turn our attention to a story. We're going to talk some football, which we always like doing. But unfortunately, it's a negative story because there was some disgraceful, vile, racist comments that were made to a couple of footballers over the weekend, and one of them was at the Port Adelaide Football Club. It was Jace Burgoyne. The other was Nazaya Wanganeen-Millera. To talk a little bit more about the situation, I'm joined by the General Manager of Football at the Port Adelaide Football Club, Chris Davies. Chris, always great to talk to you. I just wish it was under better circumstances. Good morning to you, though.
Yeah, good on you, Tom. Nice to hear from you.
Likewise, tell us about this, Chris. It's a real scourge, isn't it, in society, and particularly we're seeing it to footballers, and when it's of a racist nature, it just makes our blood boil and our skin crawl. But good on Jace Burgoyne from a Port perspective for having the courage to come out and try and, knock this on the head.
Yeah, you're right. You leave games often nowadays, unfortunately, with the players coming up to me and showing me some of the stuff that they've been sent either through the game, that they only receive their phones as they're leaving the game after it, but showing me the stuff that has been sent to them. Some of which they throw away straight away, and others in which have a far more negative tone. And we're now taking the approach, as you say, of trying to elevate these issues on the back of what's happened recently at the 36ers and the potential to chase these people down into the future.
And it sounds, Chris, like the police are really going to be proactive too in helping and cooperating with, organisations like Port Adelaide and the Adelaide 36ers to, come down hard on these perpetrators to make sure that it sets a really strong example and message. If you do this and you get caught, the full book's going to be thrown at you.
Yeah, I feel that certainly the conversations we've had recently with South Australian Police have been great in that regard. I'm sure that the AFL are having similar conversations with the police departments across Australia, and no doubt the AFL will continue to work on the way that it can help in these situations as well. And that, Tom, that might also need to include updates to different laws of the land as well, because some of those don't necessarily look at social media in the way that it's used nowadays as well. So it'll be interesting to see where this situation evolves.
Online, it's personal. It hurts.
Yeah, I think that that's right. Generally, the people who are telling young people, stay off social media are people as old as me.
Yeah, and me.
I didn't want to say that, but I was thinking it. It's the reality of our younger generation now is that they struggle to stay off their phones and struggle to stay off of social media. So this is not about saying, stay off it. This is about trying to find a way where not just players, there are other people who are impacted as well by, what is effectively systematic trolling.
Exactly right. And Chris, before I let you go, I think I said on the call on the weekend he's my favourite player, Jason Horne-Francis, but I can't believe he played through and played as well as he did on the weekend. He's had the foot surgery. It sounds like everything's gone okay. We'll likely miss the rest of the season, but hopefully long term, it's a good thing for him to be able to get the care that he needs.
Yeah, as you say, phenomenal effort to be able to play through, what was a reasonably significant injury. I think you talk about having the blood flowing during a game. He was certainly one of those players on the weekend who helped us get over the line in the second half. And, he's an amazing player. We've got to consider his long-term health. I'm sure that there was a part of him that was thinking, well, I performed so well in the second half, maybe I can continue through for a few weeks. But, from our standpoint, far more important to get him right. As you say, the surgery went well. I think it's highly unlikely that he plays again this year, but knowing the Hornet, he will be doing his rehab as if he wants to come back as early as he possibly can.
Oh, gee, I love that battle with him and Harley Reid. I just love two young bulls going at it like that. It was great watching. It was box office. Yeah. And Connor, he's just a week by week. I mean, his courage as well, but he's just a sort of suck it and see situation, the skipper.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think you've got to be honest and say that he's in some doubt, but, we will give him as long as we possibly can to prove his fitness. We're going to have a main training session this morning, but unfortunately Connor really struggled to grip the ball after his finger dislocated and he fractured his hand in the same incident, unfortunately. So he'll be doubtful, and again, as you say, a week by week proposition. And just finally, Chris, you must have run under a couple of ladders or seen some black cats. The injury curse has really hit the last couple of weeks. It's footy sometimes, professional sport, something you know very well, having worked in it for, the best part of several decades now. Yeah, well, it can be your greatest help or greatest hindrance, come the end of the year. We've certainly had our challenges this year from an injury perspective. I think it's probably, Jade, if he can't get up, is probably the seventh player that we've had this year that's had a season-ending injury. So from that standpoint, it is disappointing. It hasn't been the entire factor around what has been a relatively poor year so far, but it is a factor, and I hope for some better luck in 2026. But certainly right now, just lowering our eyes and trying to be as good as we possibly can for the remainder of this year. And it all starts on Saturday. We'll be calling that game, a big one against the Hawks down in Tasmania. Chris, as always, really love your forthrightness and your honesty. Thanks so much for coming on 5AA Breakfast, and let's hope that we can stamp out these racist trolls. And good on you and good on Jace Burgoyne for, having the courage to come forward and really hit this issue hard. Yeah, thanks, Tom. It definitely takes some courage from the guys, and let's hope it's made easier for them in the future. Fantastic stuff. Thanks, Chris. Have a great day. Good on you, mate. Thank you. Chris Davies there, who is the General Manager of the Port Adelaide Football Club, does a brilliant job, Chris Davies. And I'll talk a little bit more about that issue with Grant Stevens after 8:30. We mentioned the police are having a really collaborative approach with organisations like Port Adelaide, and I think they're trying to make it as perhaps unobtrusive as they possibly can, so that players can come forward, because they're probably worried about, potential red tape and having to, go through an exhaustive process when something like this happens. But I think the police, from what I understand, are working really hard to make it as painless as possible for those that have been victimised, like Jace Burgoyne, Isaiah Wanganeen Miller, and many others. And it's not just the racist trolls; it's just trolls in general. So I'll put that to Grant Stevens when he comes into the studio just after 8:30 this morning. There's a lot to discuss with him, which I'm really looking forward to doing. Keep giving me a call. We've been talking about random acts of kindness. We threw that topic out there a little bit earlier this morning. That was off the back of a parking inspector coming up to someone and coming into the cafe and saying, whose
car has parked inside because, let me help you move it so you can park in a legal spot, so save them from a parking fine. We've had some great calls this morning. Keep the text messages coming through. Also, 0448 08 1395. We're getting lots of text messages here. Hi, Tom. Media publicity fuels racism. That's exactly what a racist is looking for. Cheers, Len. Yeah, it is sometimes a bit of the chicken and the egg. I think, are we sometimes giving fuel to a story that only encourages copycats? I hope not, Len. I hope that by doing this, and I think the fact that Jace has come forward and we've got people like Chris Davies coming forward, we're sending the right message, and I think we are, but I also think that's why we need to catch these people and hit them hard. We need to throw the full book at them and embarrass them, shame them, and throw the book at them, really make it a deterrent so that people just don't do it. So I hope that is not the case. Morning, Tom. No point installing CCTV camera if there's no one monitoring it at the other end 24/7. That's from Frank. Yeah, this is off the back of the Walkerville, housing trust story that we've been talking about. And a lot of other people texting about that saying it's a statewide issue, and I've got no doubt that it is. So, look, I just hope that the people are getting the protection they deserve, because it shouldn't take something like the stabbing incident that we had last month, which was horrific, for changes to be made. I also understand it's a difficult one. It's a complex issue, and potentially, and I hope it's not happening, we're just shifting the problem from one area to another. So a bit to talk through there. Keep those text messages coming, 0448 08 1395. Time for a short break. Then we'll head across to the newsroom with Mel Usher, Corey Norris with all the latest sport.
To redefine Australia's favourite truck, Isuzu asked, what does reliability really mean? Well, it means more efficiency in every drive with a sleek new cab design, supporting you every kilometre of the way with improved driver comfort and protecting every road user with more advanced safety features. Introducing the all-new Isuzu truck range. Reliability redefined. To find out more, visit your nearest Isuzu trucks dealer or isuzu.com.au.
Hello, darlings. Celebrate the festive season in style at this year's Cabaret Christmas at Adelaide Convention Centre. A spectacular lineup of show-stopping entertainment with Adelaide's hottest party bands and, best of all, me, Hans, your MC. So gather your workmates or your friends as we toast the season with an all-inclusive 3-course dinner package. Don't miss Cabaret Christmas. Book now via the Adelaide Convention Centre website.
The latest information on best value suburbs, housing availability, and investment trends that help me buy a home. Real estate trends. That's news to me. Visit the Advertiser today.
Healthy soil is the key to a thriving garden. Good soil needs a mix of organic matter, nutrients and biology, all of which you will find in Chock-a-Block, a new super compost from Nutrog. Chock-a-Block is a unique blend of nutrition, microbes and humates with absolutely no green waste, meaning it's consistent all year round. Chock-a-Block, easy to remember as it's literally chock-a-block full of goodness. Look out for the green and gold bale in your local hardware or garden centre.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A possible shower 16 today with the 7:30 news. Good morning, I'm Mel Usher.
Hands you can trust and state-of-the-art facilities. Physio Extra, tailoring care for you. PhysioExtra.com.
The man convicted of the murder of Peter Falconio has died. Alexander Nimmo has more.
24 years and 1 day since British backpacker Peter Falconio was slain on the edge of the Stewart Highway. His killer, Bradley John Murdoch, has died at an Alice Springs hospital. Murdoch was serving a life sentence for Mr. Falconio's murder and was convicted of assaulting Peter's girlfriend, Joanne Lees, who managed to escape and later gave crucial evidence at Murdoch's trial. Murdoch was diagnosed with throat cancer in 2019 and was recently moved to a palliative care ward. He never revealed the location of Peter Falconio's remains.
There's growing community concern over our toxic algal bloom. A community forum held at the Brighton and Seacliff Yacht Club last night attracting a large number of local residents. The Green's Sarah Hanson-Young attended the meeting and has told 5AA the situation is dire.
We definitely need a proper inquiry into this. I think a state royal commission will be whatever we can do to get the information out there and to get the government to act is important. So we will consider that. But of course, at a federal level, federal parliament goes back next week, and I'll be moving for a federal inquiry into this issue because it's so dire.
Health experts are urging people to get vaccinated as cases of meningococcal disease and measles climb across Australia. So far this year, 56 cases of meningococcal have been recorded and 77 cases of measles. Infectious disease expert Paul Griffin says vaccination fatigue is a major factor.
Yeah, our vaccination rates for all infections are declining, and the unfortunate reality is that means that the risk goes up and we start to see them come back. I mean, I would have hoped by now that measles would be something we'd think about in Australia in a historic context. We essentially got rid of it in Australia, don't have local transmission, but now we're seeing cases climb.
The US president has announced a new trade deal with Indonesia. Initially, Donald Trump was threatening tariffs of 32% against Indonesia, but it has now gone down to 19%. Mr. Trump says Indonesia will now buy $15 billion in US energy, along with 50 Boeing jets as part of his deal.
So we made a deal with Indonesia. I spoke to their really great president, very popular, very strong, smart, and we made the deal. So they are giving us access into Indonesia, which we never had. That's probably the biggest part of the deal. And the other part is they are going to pay 19% and we are going to pay nothing.
The Emmy nominations have been announced and Cate Blanchett is flying the Aussie flag. She's up for lead actress in a limited or anthology series for Disclaimer. Harrison Ford has been nominated for the first time in his career thanks to Shrinking. The studio on Apple led the way with 23 nods. The 77th Annual Emmy Awards will be held in September. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's is overstocked with demos that must be cleared. Upgrade your vehicle today. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
It's over to Corey Norris.
Good morning, Mel. Port Adelaide could be forced to make at least 2 changes for Saturday's trip to Launceston. Jason Horne-Francis' season is over after having surgery on a broken foot, and footy boss Chris Davies has told 5AA Breakfast that captain Connor Rosie is unlikely to take on the Hawks with a broken hand.
Unfortunately, Connor really struggled to grip the ball after his finger dislocated and he fractured his hand in the same incident, unfortunately. So he'll be doubtful.
Carlton's Adam Cerra has been whacked with a $5,500 fine by the AFL Tribunal for making careless contact with an umpire. Also at the Tribunal, North Melbourne's Tristan Sherry's 3-game ban was upheld, as was Brisbane forward Zach Bailey's 1-match suspension. On the eve of this weekend's Open Championship, a raw confession from world number 1 golfer Scotty Scheffler.
I'm blessed to be able to come out here and play golf, but if my golf ever started affecting my home life or it ever affected the relationship I have with my wife or with my son, that's going to be the last day that I play out here for a living. This is not the be-all, end-all. This is not the most important thing in my life.
The 29-year-old 3-time major winner is yet to win the famed Claret Jug. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Morning there. Overnight showers have left the roads damp and greasy for the drive at a fair few spots, so take it easy. Bit of fog around too this morning, particularly around the hills and the freeway. Heavy above the tunnels around Craigfus and Stirling. Got a breakdown on the freeway too at Old Kerrigully Road with the speeds reduced. Getting busy South Road, Edwardstown, slow at the moment. Brighton Road, Glenelg East, with the Camera Candy Road at O'Halloran Hill. Red hot 2-for-1 Asia cruises have docked at Flight Centre. Double the fun for half the price. Hurry, on sale until August 17. Book now at Flight Centre. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA weather.
Stay cosy. Stay with CMAX. Visit cmax.com.au now and register your interest today.
A top of 16 today with a possible shower. Showers easing tomorrow, also 16. Friday, partly cloudy and 15. Saturday, 16. Right now, it is 10 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
50 scorching summers. 50 freezing winters. And only one Morford Air helped us through it all. Adelaide's own homegrown family air conditioning company, Morford Air, has kept South Australians cool and warm for over 50 years. That's half a century of comfort. So when it's too hot or cold to bear, reach for the Morford Air. morfordair.com.au.
Morford Air.
Losing your grip on things?
If painful and stiff hands are affecting the things you enjoy and everyday life, get in touch with GRIP. GRIP is a specialised hand and wrist practice with a team of highly qualified hand surgeons and therapists specialising in hand trauma, carpal tunnel syndrome, osteoarthritis, joint replacement, sports injuries, nerve pain and more. To get a grip on the life you loved before, free from hand pain, visit gripsurgery.com.au.
Hi, I live in an apartment and I need an outdoor blind. Okay, that was weird. Hi, I live in an apartment and I need an outdoor blind. What on earth is going on?
Phantom Screens.
I need an outdoor blind for my apartment.
Sure, we can do that.
Oh, great. The last people I called just laughed at me.
Don't worry, Phantom Screens have a solution just for you.
Ripper.
Phantom Outdoor Blinds.
It's game on at Hyundai with offers on new and demonstrator models. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
5AA Breakfast with Jade Robran and Tom Wren.
23 minutes to 8 o'clock here on 5AA Breakfast. Tom ran through until 9 o'clock this morning. Unfortunately, Jade Robran has had to go home. There has been a death in the family, so our thoughts are with Jade and her entire family at the moment. But I'll be pushing on until 9 o'clock this morning, and then Matthew Pantelis will be taking over with morning, so looking forward to a big show from him. We're putting the call out this morning. I can see on the live stream at the moment the fog that we are experiencing this morning. It was significant as I was driving in to the city at about 5:30 this morning. But give us a call, folks. What is the weather like where you are? 8223 0000 is the number, and is it impacting you significantly or traffic around you? Would love to hear from you. Otherwise, send me a text. 0448 08 1395 is the number. I'm interactive this morning and would love to hear from all of our listeners. In the meantime, it's time to catch up with one of our regulars.
It's time to go around the courts with Sean Fuster on 5AA Breakfast.
He's one of my favourites. He does an absolutely brilliant job. He joins me now on 5AA Breakfast. Sean Fuster, the chief court reporter at The Advertiser and the host, of course, of Just Lawful. Sean, good morning to you.
Oh, Tom, what a wonderful welcome. Good morning to you, mate. The feeling is very mutual.
Oh, thank you so much. Hey, Sean, I'm fascinated by this case. My parents were both teachers and look, they never resorted to any kind of physical violence or activity, but I do feel for teachers. I'm not saying in this particular instance, but a really intriguing case has happened that you have been covering involving a child at a Port Pirie junior primary school. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, look, Tony, my mum is a teacher as well, so this fascinates me as well, and I think it's going to set a lot of tongues wagging and inflame some passions because this is a very fraught issue that the Adelaide Magistrates Court is going to have to, no pun intended, grapple with. There's a teacher former teacher now, by the name of Kafei Wong, who was teaching at Airedale Primary School at Port Pirie back in 2024. The allegation that SA Police had was that one of the students at that school ran out of the classroom and Wang grabbed the student by the wrist and either pulled or dragged him back inside the classroom. That resulted in a charge of aggravated assault, the idea being that it was aggravated by two circumstances, meaning it was made more serious by two circumstances. The first being that Wang knew that the boy was only 7, and our law says that if you assault someone physically under the age of 12, it's a more serious offence than if you assaulted someone who's between the ages of 12 and 16, and then more serious again if they're an adult. But the other allegation of aggravation was that he had aggravated his offence by abusing his position of authority, meaning he'd overstepped the bounds of what a teacher could do. The whole matter was supposed to go to trial in the Adelaide Magistrates Court on Monday. Instead, Wang's lawyer spoke with police prosecutors and they came back to court after about an hour's delay and said, Your Honour, we're ready to proceed with a guilty plea. My client will confess, provided police drop the allegation that he has abused his authority in taking this action. South Australia Police, as prosecutors, did that. Wang pleaded guilty, and now we're off until August to hear sentencing submissions. But what it means now is that, as I said at the top of the conversation, the Adelaide Magistrates Court is going to have to decide, well, just how far do a teacher's powers go? When are they allowed to put their hands on a child? When are they not? What are the circumstances of this particular matter? And does it arise to the point where some sort of criminal sanction is required.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because without being there, you don't know the context or the force that was used. You know, did he drag the child through? Was it just a yank of the wrist in frustration? Come on, come back into the classroom. And I can feel a lot of listeners out there saying, goodness, when I was at school, they probably had the days of the cane still for a few people that are listening. But times have changed, haven't they, Sean?
Oh, look, I remember a teacher deciding that the person that I was talking in class, me talking, can you imagine? And it was actually the person sitting next to me, but the teacher walloped me on the head with a history textbook, big, thick, hardcover textbook. Now, that was, not on at any time. You should never be hitting a child for any reason. But I remember that when I was at school, which was not really that long ago, that was just, okay, well, that's the way things happen.
Yep.
That's the sort of form of corporal discipline that is allowed. Now you've gone to the other extreme where there are teachers in some of our northern suburb schools who literally have to stand back and watch under the law and allow children to brawl with one another, because if they involve themselves or they touch the child, they can be charged with assault. So this is going to be something of a test case, I think, to see whether there is a line that needs to be drawn in the legal sense. Whether this will affect Education Department policy or not, who knows? But for a court to make a ruling and set a precedent and say this is as much as a teacher is or is not allowed to do, whatever sentence Wang gets is going to potentially set that precedent, even though he himself is no longer a teacher. The Education Department has confirmed that he was directed away from the site as per policy on the day that this occurred, and that he has since allowed his teaching job with them to lapse and is no longer employed.
I was going to say, was that a forced decision? It sounds like he was strongly encouraged to step aside as a result of this singular incident, Sean.
Yeah, I think we'd have to get euphemistic if we wanted to figure out what the department meant by that statement. But the nuts and bolts of the statement is that he was directed away from the site and his employment has lapsed since his contract's run out. So whether Mr. Wang is now doing something else, but he's no longer in the employ of the South Australian Education Department, no longer a public school teacher, and we're yet to hear what he actually does with himself now.
And just in terms of what the Magistrates Court can do from a law point of view, what sanctions potentially criminally can he face now, given the charge has been downgraded somewhat when he fronts court again next month?
Yeah, well, I mean, downgraded in one sense, but not downgraded in another, because it's still aggravated assault by virtue of the youth of the child, which means he's still facing a potential jail term. That could be turned into a suspended sentence. That could be turned into a bond of good behaviour with some sort of community service conditions. The Magistrates Court's got a wide range of options because this is considered a minor indictable offence rather than a major indictable. It doesn't go before a jury. But jail is still on the table, and even if it's not, Mr. Wang is going to have a conviction on his record for the rest of his life. And if you go back and you look at his criminal record one day as an employer, you're going to see that he's got a charge of aggravated assault against a child. And we have to stress here, and I've been at pains to stress this, it's very unfortunate that when people hear teacher, assault, child, their mind automatically goes to sexual assault, because that's so much of what we've heard in the last decade. This is not a sexual assault in any way, shape or form, and that's something that's going to be difficult for Wang to deal with as he moves on with the rest of his life as well, because people are always going to mix those things up, unfortunately.
Sean, you've been covering courts for a long time. You've got so much experience. Is this something, these kinds of incidents, you're seeing more of, assault charges that are being brought before the courts with perhaps, say, a child and a teacher?
I've got to admit, Tom, this is the first time I've seen it.
Yeah,
which
right.
is why it's so captivating to me to find out where we go from here. And I'm not sure whether there have been other cases that I simply haven't attended. It will be very interesting to hear what counsel for both prosecution and defence direct the magistrate toward in terms of looking at prior cases and where to set the goalposts for this. As I said it to you earlier, no matter what decision is made, it has the potential to set the table for things going forward in this realm of education and employment.
Going to be fascinating to see how it unfolds and what sanctions the court does come up with. It sounds like a bit of a test case in many ways. Sean, love your work with The Advertiser and here on 5AA with Just Lawful. Thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thanks, Tom.
Great stuff. Sean FIVEAA, who is the chief court reporter at The Advertiser. If you've got a thought, folks, 8223 0000 is the number. Otherwise, send me a text, 0448 08 1395. Look, as a parent, I've got a 6-year-old and I know he's not perfect. How would you react? I mean, yes, you'd be at first instance, I think if you learnt that your teacher had done something, you'd want to know why and the severity of the assault. That said, was it just a knee-jerk reaction? Was it just an instinctive reaction by the teacher? If that happens, would you be opposed to it? I'd love to get your thoughts on this one. It's a fascinating case, as Sean has mentioned, and he's got more than 20 years' experience working in the media, and he says it's the first time he's seen something like this come across his desk. So, utterly intriguing. Love to get your thoughts on it. Give us a call. In the meantime, we'll check out what is happening on the roads. I'm getting a stack of text messages about the fog. I'll get to that shortly. In the meantime, let's check out what is happening with the traffic right now here on 5AA Breakfast.
Passing showers and overnight showers have made the roads pretty damp for the driving this morning. Take it easy and look out for a fair bit of FIVEAA fog, particularly through the hills and around the freeway. Heavy above the tunnels around Crafers and Stirling. Got a breakdown too on the freeway to look out for. It's near Old Kerry Gully Road. Speeds are down to 60. We are slow at the moment. Marion Road at Anzac Highway for works, and a camera's been spotted Candy Road at Halloran Hill this morning. Power up Android on Telstra. Discover great deals and a range of Android devices on Australia's best mobile network. Visit Telstra in-store or online today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Deliver more with Toyota, the world's #1 forklift brand. Choose from a great range including pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts, right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota forklift.
Introducing the Caliente by Beechwood Homes. A multi-level masterpiece of design, innovation and style. Inspired by the effortless glamour of Palm Springs in California, it's bathed in natural light through clever architectural design. At its heart, a stunning 6-metre island bench anchors a kitchen that's as beautiful as it is functional. The Caliente is open for viewing at 10 Simon Crescent, Craigburn Farm, Saturdays and Sundays 1 to 4:30pm. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blowing up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. For fixed price services, call Precise.
For a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
If you've seen Aldi's low prices, you may have thought they're having a sale, but they're not. And here's how you can tell. If there was a sale, I'd be talking like this and saying, "Hurry!" on a megaphone while a time bomb ticks and dollar signs flash before your eyes and your ears ring with a cha-ching! But there is no sale. Just low prices every day at Aldi. So you can sit back, relax and enjoy the soothing everyday sound of an Aldi checkout. Aldi. Good different.
Hi, Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop. Now more than ever, you need an agent who's not just out for a quick sale. You need someone who can stand their ground to ensure you're maximising your home's potential. There's a good reason Toop and Toop is defying market trends and continuing to deliver premium outcomes for its clients. With a history spanning over 40 years and a team of unrivalled experience, Toop and Toop knows what it takes to maximise your results in any selling conditions. Visit toop.com.au to find out more.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. It's game on at Hyundai with offers on new and demonstrator models. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
5AA Breakfast with Jade Robran and Tom Wren.
And it is smack bang on 10 minutes to 8 o'clock this morning on 5AA Breakfast. I've asked for text messages and they are coming through thick and fast, a bit like the fog. From the city to the coast, it's fog all year round this morning from our house in Taringi. That is from Kieran. We'll try and put these pictures up on our Facebook live feed. In fact, we've got that one up right now. Beautiful property you've got there, Kieran. Absolutely love it. Love the kids' sort of play equipment in the foreground of the photo too. Absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, I can see that it is significant, the fog there. Good morning, Tom. Hello from Godoga. Very foggy here, far north New South Wales. Sounds similar in Adelaide this AM. That's from Mara. Thank you, Mara. And then we just had the issue there with Sean Fuster talking about the courts and the case involving the teacher who is facing criminal prosecution for an incident involving a 7-year-old child where he allegedly grabbed the child, the 7-year-old, by the wrist. And, you know, there's varying degrees of whether or not the child was pulled back into class or dragged back into the class. This happened in Port Pirie, and I'm getting a lot of text messages about it. This one, we used to get the cane at school, but one teacher would give us the option of doing lines or getting 10 hits on the backside with a beach bay. How times have changed. This one from Phil. When I was in primary school, we had a cranky old nun. If we were caught talking, we'd get a plastic bag over the head or a clothes peg on the tongue. Wow. Teachers handling pupils. Times have changed. So have outcomes. So here we are once again. Hi, Tom. The issue with the teacher is the reason myself and lots of colleagues are leaving. If that student ran out and got hit by a car or hurt themselves because they're not supervised, the teacher would be up for a lawsuit. The system is broken. That one's from Matt. This one, g'day Tom, our son is a teacher. He's been stabbed twice with pens and once with scissors. Can't do a thing. We now reap what we've sown over the last 30 years. I don't know how he does it. I'd be sacked before recess. And that is from Wayne. This one, I'm a long-time teacher and you just don't touch students, especially if you're a male. This is one of the reasons that there's such a shortage of teachers. Name withheld. Thank you. Appreciate them. Keep them coming, folks. My teachers, my parents were both teachers, high school teachers, and, you know, they loved it. They were so passionate about what they did. They did it for 40 years each, and they've only recently retired in probably the last 6 or 7 years now. They're well into their 70s, but it's a tough game. It is really difficult. They get tested day in, day out. I know all teachers do. My sister's a teacher now. I wouldn't have the patience for it. I'm like a lot of the listeners. I couldn't do it. I don't know how people do. But keep those text messages coming. I think a fair bit of sympathy for teachers out there, not saying with this particular case, because without knowing the absolute specifics of being there at the time, but goodness me, it is just so tricky for a lot of the teachers out there. And also the weather texts we're getting, absolutely loving them on the fog. Let's get to Will de Fulvio, though, one of my colleagues across the road at Channel 9. He does a brilliant job. He's working on the Today Show at the moment, and he's covering the story this morning about the fisheries boat that he's heading out to survey the algal bloom situation. Will, good morning to you. Where's this happening, and what can you tell us is going on right now?
Yeah, morning, Rennie. Well, the boat's it's the Southern Ranger. It's taken off from Port Adelaide just in the last few minutes or so. On board, there's FIVEAA personnel, marine experts, and some SARDI people as well, the South Australian Research and Development Institute. They're going to be going to a number of locations, about 4 marine sanctuaries out in the Gulf of St. Vincent. And there's an underwater drone. They'll just be basically trying to get a look at this algae that's just been decimating the coastline. I'm sure people all through South Australia and probably the rest of the country as well have seen just how bad it's been doing to our marine life here. But they're going to be going to Outer Harbour. There's a marine sanctuary between Outer Harbour and Drossen. They'll start there. Then they'll head down to Rapid Bay, over to Carrickalinga. Then on the way back, they'll check out Glenelg as well. So it's a big day. They've just headed out now. They've been prepping the boat all morning. They've got some pretty high-tech equipment on board, and they're really trying to get into this issue as to what the algal bloom is doing here and why it's sticking around. And I guess then hoping to get some kind of long-term prognosis as to whether or not it's going to be something they have to worry about, you know, for the medium to or short or, you know, long-term potentially, I'm guessing as well, Will. Yeah, absolutely. They thought that once the waters cooled down, because the waters around here are about 2.5 degrees more hot than they are at this time of year usually. So they were hoping that once they cooled down and maybe some storms would break up this algae, that it would just dissipate. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened. I spoke to the executive director of FIVEAA this morning, who's actually out on the boat, and he said if they left any earlier, the impact of this algal bloom actually might not have been apparent to them. That's why they're leaving today. This is pretty much their first opportunity to head out there. They're hoping that they can get on top of this. I mean, we're seeing reports out of America that there's going on 4 years now that they've been dealing with a similar situation. I don't think it's the exact same strain, but it just goes to show that these things, that they're quite delicate, and if you don't get on top of them, they can linger. So it is it's a bit of a hot topic in the community. Everyone wants to see it fixed. The government say they're doing what they can, and this is just the latest arrow in their quiver that they've got. Let's hope that we can get to the bottom of it sooner rather than later. 4 years, that'd be an absolute disaster given the impact it's already having on the fisheries industry. Will, loving your work. Look forward to seeing more tonight on 9 News. Lovely. Thanks, Rennie.
Good on your stuff. Will DeForvio, absolute star. He's going a long way, that young man. Love his work. Will DeForvio. He's on the Today Show at the moment. One of the other stories we previewed this morning that we're going to cover right now, are stay-at-home dads. I've mentioned a couple of times that I go to the gym with a guy called Brad, absolute legend, and he's a stay-at-home dad while his wife works, and she's the breadwinner. So he stays home, does all the, pick-up duties and all the schooling duties, the lunches, all of that kind of thing, which is perhaps a change from what we've seen in, I'd say, in inverted commas, the traditional home. Well, I've got a couple of guests to talk a little bit about that situation now. Sarah and Mitch Smelt, they're a mum and dad duo. Sarah, Mitch, good morning to you.
Hi, how you going?
Going really well, thank you, Sarah. Tell me about your situation, and when did you decide that it would be the case that your partner, Sarah, would be a stay-at-home dad while you're out being the breadwinner, I guess?
And look, in true form, we have both children here, and they are crying, so I do apologise.
a typical family at this time of day.
We want to keep it real.
Yeah.
So after we had our first daughter, I took some mat leave. And then when we had our son, Albie, who is 7 months old, we just, it wasn't even a conversation. It's just sort of a natural progression. Mitch was already working part-time. He was looking after our daughter on her off childcare days. So it just made sense. I'd love to say it was this big light bulb moment, but it just sort of thought, well, yeah, he's already doing it, so why not just do it full time and I'll go back to work?
And particularly if, without trying to put too fine a point on it, if you're earning more money and things work out better that way, Sarah, is that one of the considerations as well that came into it?
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, I own the business. So even if I wasn't there, as many small business owners would know, we're still there.
And we're
still in the business. So why not?
And what is it that you do, Sarah? So it obviously requires a lot of your time and effort. What do you do?
It does. So I own Finance Society. So we're a little boutique mortgage brokerage down in Glenelg East.
Fantastic. And so you're full-time with that. So Mitch has got the 7-month-old. How old is your other child?
Bowie. So she is 4.
So 4. So does Mitch still work part-time or does he's full-time stay at home at the moment?
No.
Full-time stay at home.
Yeah, and at that age, I mean, I'm a little bit removed from it now. I've got the 11 and 6-year-old and a 20-year-old as well, so I'm a bit all over the shop. But you're in the thick of it, nappy changing. They need full-time care, so it's absolutely exhausting. Now, it looks like they might have just lost them off the line. Maybe one of the kids has accidentally hung up on them. But it does. It requires a team effort, and I've discussed it. We've got a lot of people that are going through a similar situation. It's just easier. And if the money's coming in, and like Sarah's just discussed, you've got the full-time business that, requires that you have to be there all of the time, it absolutely makes sense. We might try and get them back on there a little bit later, Sarah and Mitch. We've just lost them off the line. But in the meantime, keep those text messages coming. We're getting a stack of them about that teacher story that I had a chat with to Sean Fuster. Also about the fog, not foggy at Mount Compass, but there is rain. That one coming from Sherry. Okay, so Mount Compass, probably a good 45-minute drive from where we are right now, maybe even a bit longer, an hour or so. Beautiful part of the world. But keep them coming, 8223 0000 as well, if you'd like to give me a call. Time for a short break. Back with plenty more on the other side of the 8 o'clock news.
A new battery rebate is here, and it's a game changer. The Cheaper Home Batteries program with NRG Solar makes smart storage more affordable than ever. Eligible homes and small businesses can save thousands, and households could slash power bills by up to 90% with a solar and battery combo. NRG Solar will guide you through and lock in the rebate before the masses catch on. Head to nrgsolar.com.au or call 1300 858 160. Don't wait. The smart move is to act now.
Up-to-the-minute news for South Australia. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A possible shower 16 today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Mel Usher.
Physio, Pilates, hydro, massage, podiatry and exercise classes. Physio Extra's Holistic Care. physioextra.com.
The push for a federal response to our toxic algal bloom continues to grow. A community forum held at the Brighton and Seacliff Yacht Club last night attracted a large number of residents. The Greens' Sarah Hanson-Young Young was there, telling 5AA the impact shouldn't be underestimated.
One of the panellists said, from a human perspective, the human impact of this and the long-term impact may very well be much bigger than COVID ever was. And I think that's a very poignant issue, a poignant comment.
A government task force has started mapping the road to recovery from the algal bloom. The panel is set to be provided with samples collected from 17 sites, including West Lakes, the Port River and the Padawalunga, to better understand the effects on the ecosystem. A man has been arrested after damaging a number of cars at Eastwood. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says they were called to a fast food restaurant on Greenhill Road last night after receiving numerous calls from the public about his behaviour.
Approaching people in cars in a car park and acting aggressively towards them. 2 drivers reported having panels damaged after the man had allegedly kicked the cars. So we responded and arrested the man at the scene.
The 43-year-old from Enfield has been charged with disorderly behaviour and 2 counts of property damage and will front court today. There's been a drug bust at Two Wells, police uncovering a large hydroponic cannabis crop at a house while visiting the property for an unrelated incident. It comprised 62 plants and prescribed equipment. Investigations are continuing. Outback killer Bradley John Murdoch has died of cancer in an Alice Springs hospital, aged 67. Murdoch was serving a life sentence for the 2001 murder of British backpacker Peter Falconio and the attempted abduction of his girlfriend, Joanne Lees. His death comes just days after Falconio's father made a final plea for the killer to reveal where his son's body is buried, a secret Murdoch took to the grave. The Federal Health Minister believes vaping rates among teenagers have turned a corner. Latest data from the Cancer Council's Generation Vape survey shows rates for people aged over 15 have dropped by more than a third. Mark Butler says education and prevention campaigns are showing tangible results.
Fewer are vaping, fewer are smoking, and the exposure they get through social media to pro-vaping ads has more than halved. So the fight's not over.
Now turning to 5AA's sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's is overstocked with demos that must be cleared. Upgrade your vehicle today. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Here's Corey Norris.
Good morning, Mel. With injuries set to force Port Adelaide to make more changes ahead of Saturday's clash in Launceston, football boss Chris Davies has told 5AA Breakfast that Jason Horne-Francis is the 7th power player to suffer a season-ending injury.
It is disappointing. It hasn't been the entire factor around, what has been a relatively poor year so far, but it is a factor, and I hope for some better luck in 2026.
Essendon captain Zach Merritt has reaffirmed his commitment to the struggling Bombers. It follows speculation the 29-year-old should move to another club in a bid to be part of a premiership-winning team. But Merritt has told Fox Footy he's all in.
I play a team sport. If I want to be individual, I'd go and play tennis or golf. I think, playing footy, you play for the ultimate prize, and got a lot of motivation, desire to dig in and keep working with these guys, and seeing debutants come through and show promise is the exciting part for me. That gives me hope and optimism moving forward.
The West Indies are calling in the legends to address its batting woes. Sir Clive Lloyd, Sir Viv Richards and Brian Lara all being called in after being bowled out for 27 in the 3rd test against Australia. And that's the 5AA sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Morning there. Damp roads for the drive-in today with overnight showers and a fair bit of Felix fog around today, particularly heavy through the hills above the tunnels and on the freeway around Crafers and Stirling. Got a broken down car too on the freeway around Old Kerry Gully Road. Speeds reduced. Quite busy at the moment. South Road, Edwardstown, slowing up at the moment. Tapley Hill Road, Glenelg North, and got a camera setting up right now. Bartley Terrace at Westlake Shore. Celebrate 70 years of Disneyland Resort with all new Disney discs. Now at Woolworths and Big W. There's 40 Disney discs to collect. Start collecting today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast.
Stay cosy. Stay with CMAX. Visit cmax.com.au now and register your interest today.
A possible shower ahead today and a top of 16. The showers will ease tomorrow, also 16. Friday, partly cloudy and 15. Saturday, 16. Right now, it's 10 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
Fluorio Milk Company will always put SA first, and you can too. When you reach for milk, reach for Fluorio Milk Company products and support our dairy farmers and their families. We guarantee that all our milk is 100% South Australian and it's always fresh. We have over 24 refrigerated trucks shipping FIVEAA milk to cafes, restaurants and supermarkets all over SA. Look for the local in your supermarket. FIVEAA Milk Company. We're for SA dairy farmers.
Hi, I'm Dr. Laura Willington. Understaffing in our hospitals is harming you and me. We urgently need a workforce plan to identify the right number of doctors for each of our hospitals and health services. And we need fair wages and conditions to attract and keep doctors so you can access care when you need it. Help make our health system safer for you and safer for me. Visit safermedicalstaffing.com.au. Authorised by Dr. Laura Willington, President, South Australian Salaried Medical Officers Association, Adelaide.
Hi, Brett Ibbott here for Mawson Lakes Mazda. OK, the end of financial year might be done and dusted, but at Mawson Lakes Mazda, the deals aren't. All makes, models and colours are being cleared, no exceptions. And there's a huge range of locate demos all ready for immediate delivery. Plus, you'll get free on roads, free stamp duty, free 12 months rego and $500 worth of accessories. Mawson Lakes Mazda, Salisbury Highway, T's and C's apply.
Stay informed, get involved. 5AA, always Adelaide.
In the summertime when the weather... It's game on at Hyundai with offers on new and demonstrator models. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
5AA Breakfast with Jade Robran and Tom Wren.
7 minutes past 8 o'clock on this Wednesday, July the 16th. Kind of ironic that we're listening to this song coming back. Wish it was summertime, but we are in the midst of winter. Plenty of fog out there, and I've been getting a stack of messages, which I asked for, so thank you. Keep them coming. 0448081395. And it's a tale of contrast at the moment. There is heavy fog rolling in at Hackham and a fine drizzle. That is from Anita. And then Sherry has sent me a magnificent photo at Mount Compass. So it depends on where you are at the moment. There is fog at some places and not at others. Just an update as well. The Adelaide Airport, we have checked in there. No delays or reports of cancellations at the moment, which is great news. So if you're travelling to the airport or you're perhaps heading there to pick someone up, no delays or cancellations, which is good news. Lots of text messages as well coming through on the story I covered with Sean Fuster in the last hour. This is regarding the teacher who has pled guilty to physically assaulting a student 7 years of age and will face sentencing next month, or will face the Adelaide Magistrates Court for a 2-day trial on one aggravated count of assault. Lots of text messages coming in saying if that child went out onto the road and the teacher did not pull him back in from a car, would the teacher be in trouble? That's from Elkie. Tom, I can recall back in 1979, my high school art teacher used to put his hands on our necks and squeeze as hard as he could to discipline us. Don't think he would survive these days. No, I think you're right there. That one is from an anonymous listener. Times have certainly changed, and a lot of people are reflecting that in their text messages this morning. Big hour coming up here on 5AA Breakfast. Matthew Pantelis will take over the reins after the 9 o'clock news, but we're going to be talking algal bloom, the task force meeting. It was held last night at Seacliff at the Sailing Club, so we'll discuss that at length. I had a chat with Will DeFulvio just before 8 o'clock this morning, talking about the underwater drones that are heading out in the Gulf of St Vincent to try and assess the situation and survey how bad the damage is. Hopefully not that bad. And I guess then to work out what the best course of action is moving forward, both short and long term. So we'll do that. We'll also talk with the Police Commissioner, Grant Stevens. Looking forward to him being in the studio. There's a stack of issues we'll tackle with him. That's after 8:30, so he's one of our regulars, of course. Love having a chat with Grant, so look forward to doing that. And we're going to spin for the Smart Dialer just before 9 o'clock this morning. So a nice giveaway to look forward to, which is always great news. But right now, it is time to talk something, well, a good news story, I think, because I remember having a chat to him on Monday, and many of you out there would remember we were talking to the Mayor of Playford, the council there, Glenn Doherty. This was regarding the situation of Australia Post. Well, they've reversed their long-held unpopular policy against delivering letters to homes in a growing Adelaide suburb. Just days after the incident came to light, the Advertiser went with his story. We spoke about it on Monday. Glenn, good morning to you. Tell us, it's been a pretty significant 48 hours or so.
Good morning, Tom. Look, it's fantastic news that finally there'll be roadside delivery of mail to the fast-growing suburb of Virginia. It's fantastic that Australia Post have listened to the voices of the local community and have reversed their decision that you don't need to go to Burton to go and pick up your mail. You'll be able to get mail delivered to your roadside. All you need to do is make sure you've got a letterbox out the front. So take a few steps out your front door. You'll be able to get your mail in the coming weeks instead of having to hop in the car and drive 10 kilometres to pick up your mail.
Which is so much more convenient for everyone. So, Glenn, when does this service resume? When will it start?
Well, Australia Post will be advising Virginia residents in the coming weeks of that start date. We're hopeful that that will happen in the not-too-distant future, but that is a question for Australia Post. But we're just delighted out here in Virginia that they have listened to the community and that finally we'll get roadside delivery, and the shenanigans of what's been happening with postal services in this fast-growing community will stop, and we actually get the 21st century postal services that we deserve.
Well, it just goes to show that people power can occasionally work, doesn't it, Glenn? And I could feel that frustration in your voice on Monday, and good on you for, championing the cause. That's what it's all about, being someone in the public service, and it's worked. It must be, fulfilling for you.
Look, this is a community-led campaign. There's so many members of the community, the council, local MPs that have for a very long time been pushing this agenda, but it's been driven by the community. And I am the councillor, just one small part in that, but it's the residents of Virginia who didn't lie down and weren't going to accept this that have made the real difference, and I really commend them for doing that. And I think this now has shown that Australia Post will listen to its communities, but they've still got to make some decisions about how and when they service growth areas. So while this might be a significant win for Virginia, we've still got Riverlea to go. But also I think Australia Post do need to change the way in which they manage postal services. And in my view, should be doing that when certain population targets are reached, or working with the local state and local government authorities where new fast-growing developments are put in place, that there is trigger points to automatically get roadside mail delivery. But I'm just so delighted that the residents of Virginia are going to be getting mail to their home. Because,
Glenn, yeah, you're right. It was a technicality that they weren't getting door-to-door post service, wasn't it? Because it didn't set off the threshold for population. Is that right?
Well, it wasn't a population target as such. What Australia Post currently do is they would survey a local community and they would drop off some notices on the front door, because obviously there's no mail to your house at that point. And if you return the survey and you vote yes, that's great. But Australia Post would take it that if you didn't return your survey, it was an automatic no. Mm-hmm. So that was the technicality. So they would count a no vote for someone that didn't return it or maybe didn't receive it, so they couldn't actually return it, automatically meant no, which made it even harder to get over to their threshold. But I think the real kick-out that was when there were some changes at the local post office that you couldn't go in and pick up your mail. You had to drive, down to Burton or up to Two Wells to pick up your mail. That's when the community said, "No, enough's enough," and they stepped in, raised their voices, and it's good that Australia Post actually listened to the community.
Talking to Glenn Doherty, who is the mayor out at Playford. Glenn, my background is in sport. I love it. You do a brilliant event each and every year with the City of Playford Tennis International, which is a fabulous, tennis event. It's for professional points. We've had some wonderful champions in the past. How are things looking for that, and when is that going to take place?
Yes, there will be another tournament towards the end of this year, so we're still locked down the final dates, but looking for October or maybe early November. So as soon as we've got that announced, Tommy, we're more than happy to come along and talk to you. That's great, free, world-class tennis at our Playford Tennis Centre, and it's great to have the opportunity for the young kids and families to come along and watch the players of today, but also the up-and-coming players of the future, free in their local community. And we think it's a brilliant tournament that really showcases tennis and gives a lot of young Aussie stars an opportunity to set the mark as they embrace on the world stage.
Well, I'm just thinking of a couple of former champions, Kim Birrell, who's doing great things at the moment, also Rinky Hijikata, who's playing some great tennis right now, has been a part of Wimbledon and was in the doubles final for the men. We've had some great players that come through there. So lock me in for the Sunday whenever it's organised, Glenn, and I'll be out there to MC the closing, championship ceremony. I can't wait for it.
Oh, look, I can't wait either. It's a fantastic tournament. And, of course, Tommy, mate, you actually add that bit of sparkle to it as well. So we're more than happy to have you back.
I'm not sure about that. But, Glenn, well done again. That's a great result for the residents of Virginia. I know you're still working hard on FIVEAA, but thanks so much for coming on and giving us the update this morning.
No worries. And thank you for your advocacy too at FIVEAA, the advertiser, and the other outlets across South Australia that have helped champion this cause. It's our collective voices that have made a really true impact on the local community here. So thanks, mate.
Great stuff. Thanks so much, Glenn. Again, really appreciate your time. And look, credit where credit's due. Well done to Australia Post for listening. It was a story that came out there and they said, yep, we're going to alter this. And I'm sure there is a financial impost as a result, but I think the right result has been reached here. I think, people getting their mail delivered to their door is something that the residents of Virginia wanted. Australia Post heard that and they've listened. So it's a win-win all around, I think. Let's have a check of the traffic out there. We know there has been fog in some areas, significantly more than others. Let's see how much of an impact it's making this morning.
Morning there, greasy roads with overnight showers. Look out for those on the drive-in today. And a fair bit of fog around still this morning. Pretty persistent, in fact, particularly through the hills around Stirling, Crafers and the tunnels. Speeds reduced too for a breakdown on the freeway, just at Old Kerry Gully Road. Getting quite busy. The parade at Norwood, quite slow at the moment. Anzac Highway at Ashford. And got a camera right now in one of those big vans. Look out for that. Bartley Terrace at Westlake Shore. These school holidays bring the whole family to Event Cinemas and enjoy big savings with Event Cinemas Family Saver tickets. Book now and save at eventcinemas.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Rowie and Timmy G.
We've got Campo in here. Crows can win the flag. Back that statement up.
Oh, they're up to their eyeballs. There's no question. If you put Collingwood, Geelong, Hawthorn, any of those teams in Melbourne, if you put those set of numbers up that Adelaide are producing at the moment, everyone would be going, they're up to their eyeballs.
The 5AA Sports Show.
But I like the fact that people are not rating them.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Is it big enough, Stephen?
What?
I said, is it big enough, the truck?
Oh, yeah, this will do. This is huge.
So why are we moving all your fishing rods and nets out of the shed?
Well, I may have lowballed the number of rods and gear I have to the wifey, but I need a stealthy little clear-out that's required, Timmy.
And if she finds out?
I'll be booted out and I'm with you.
Beauty. I'll grab me golf clubs.
You're not having them.
Got something big to budge? Budget with a budget rental truck. Call 13 27 27.
There was this huge spider.
Really silly place for a letterbox.
Seriously, there were cows all over the road.
At FIVEAA Panel Services, we've heard it all. But the one thing we hear often is, when will my car be ready? In most cases, we can start work straight away, thanks to our state-of-the-art workshop and highly skilled team. Ask your insurance company for FIVEAA Panel Services. With over 45 years' experience, we'll get you back on the road sooner. FIVEAApanel.com.au.
I think we've all been in this situation before. Have you ever had one of those relationships? They say they'll show up, they don't. Well, you know what? You deserve better. You deserve someone who actually calls you back. It's time to break up with unreliable tradies. That's why it's time to call Precise. Precise will do the job right the first time. What a difference that makes. No ghosting, no dodgy quick fixes, just good, honest plumbing with zero red flags. And if you haven't noticed, winter, it's definitely here. We know that this morning. Call them now and get $500 off new ducted heating installations. No call-out fees and no surprises. Block that flaky old tradie and get a tradie who treats you right. Precise, reliable, local, and emotionally available if you need that sort of thing. Call 152-6740 or visit the website preciseservices.com.au. Celebrating 25 years. That number again, 8152-6740.
Your old hot water system can drive as much as 40% of your energy bill. Fortunately, you can upgrade to something that's 70% cheaper to run thanks to Right Price. They're the leaders in heat pumps and installation. Now's the time to upgrade and save money on a more efficient hot water system and take advantage of government incentives and free installation. Reduce your energy costs today with a heat pump from Right Price. Make the switch with Right Price Hot Water.
At Right Price, heating and cooling, you can get the price right at Right Price.
Hi, Brett Ibbott here for Mawson Lakes Mazda. OK, the end of financial year might be done and dusted, but at Mawson Lakes Mazda, the deals aren't. All makes, models and colours are being cleared, no exceptions. And there's a huge range of low-K demos all ready for immediate delivery. Plus, you'll get free on roads, free stamp duty, free 12 months rego and $500 worth of accessories. Mawson Lakes Mazda, Salisbury Highway, T's and C's apply.
Know the news with Adelaide's 7 News. Don't miss Adelaide's leading news hour tonight at 6 o'clock.
It's game on at Hyundai with offers on new and demonstrator models. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
5AA Breakfast with Jade Robran and Tom Wren.
Coming up to 22 minutes past 8 o'clock here on 5AA Breakfast. One of the stories we've been covering today, and it's been in the news quite a bit over the past several months, is regarding the fisheries industry. We know this toxic algal bloom has been impacting quite severely all around our South Australian coastline, out through Kangaroo Island, the Gulf of St Vincent. You name it, it has been a major problem and it's affecting a lot of commercial fishers. So a South Australian fisheries vessel has begun underwater observations of the toxic algal bloom, and that is happening from today.
Gulf St Vincent, it's already headed off this morning. And what's really important about this is that it will give us more data about what's on the ocean floor. So, of course, there's been a lot of monitoring of data that's been already undertaken since this bloom first emerged. So there's been water sampling, there's the satellite imagery, and of course what we've been seeing washing up on the beaches. But this particular vessel and this particular patrol will enable remote operated vehicles to actually look at what's on the floor of the sea, how much dead sea life there is there, and give us a much better understanding of what that might mean going forward.
And I guess what course of action should then be taken moving forward too, Minister?
Look, obviously, we're looking at what recovery looks like. It's really important to emphasise that, the harmful algal bloom is a naturally occurring event. We know the reasons for it. There was a marine heatwave that started back last year with sea temperatures about 2.5 degrees higher than usual. There's been calm conditions and only light winds and small swells. There was the extra nutrients washing into the water from the River Murray floods. And then what's called a cold water upwelling, which has brought a lot of nutrient-rich water to the surface. So all of those things have combined, according to the information that we have, which has led not only to the algal bloom being so severe, but then also persisting for so long.
So those observations are beginning today with that vessel. Is it instantaneous data feedback that you're going to be able to get, or how long until you can sort of properly transcribe that data and work out, how significant the damage is?
Yeah, it's a really good point that you've made. The footage will be available pretty much straight away.
Right.
But in terms of the analysis of that, that will take a little while. And obviously it depends what is found as to what that then means, how much further analysis is needed, and then potentially what that might look like going forward.
And Minister, I know this is probably dominating a lot of your time and efforts at the moment, and understandably so. There was a meeting last night at Seacliff. I know there were a lot of residents there, no doubt voicing their concerns. What was the fallout from that meeting yesterday evening?
So I don't think government was invited to that meeting. I understand that there was a big turnout and it was streamed online as well. So certainly I'll be keen to hear if anything new emerged from that. There were some good people at that. Faith Coleman, who's been speaking a lot and working closely with Susan Close in her capacity as the Environment Minister, Susan, as well as a number of other speakers. Rex Fish was there as well, I understand. But I think it does also raise the point of how much we appreciate the involvement of citizens. So we've had citizen science that has been feeding in a lot of information. And then we need to look at, we want to get even more information out. It's available on places such as the DEW website, the Department of Environment and Water website. But, how else can we get it out to people so that they do know what is happening, what is causing it, and then, there may well be things that they can do to help us as we move into the next stage.
And I know you've announced licensing relief, which has been welcomed by the industry. We've had a few people on saying it's very much welcome the government's move to do that. I guess, is that something you'll consider, depending on the damage and the impact moving forward? There may be further assistance depending on what we do find out?
Exactly, that's right. So with the support that's already been provided to the fishing industry, it was in relation to the last quarter of the financial year. Quite a lot of fishermen had already caught their quota, so that's something to be aware of, is that if you're a commercial fisher, there are limits to how much you can catch of the main species. So a lot had already caught their quota before the algal bloom had the largest impact. Not all, of course, and so quite a lot of fishers have been very significantly impacted. I don't want to or downplay that. But it does mean that now going forward, if the bloom is continuing to persist, we're absolutely working with the fishing industry about what the next tranche of support might need to look like.
All right, Claire, thank you so much for coming on the show this morning. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks very much, Tom.
Claire Scriven, who is the Primary Industries Minister. Now, in the meantime, the Shadow Minister for Water Infrastructure has called in, David Basham. David, thank you so much for your time. You've just heard from the Minister there about what is happening and what they're hoping to try and do moving forward. What do you have to say about all of that?
Well, thanks, Tom. And I guess my big concern is it's taken 4 months for the government to go out there and actually have a look at what's happening in our oceans. The environment's so important, not just for our fishers, but for our community to have a great ocean and have it healthy and robust. And it's taken 4 months for them to send their boat out to actually have a look. To me, that's extremely disappointing. The wonderful work that the community's been doing in feeding in what's been going on has been fantastic. And it started in my patch down at Waipinga and along the beach through to Goolwa, where people were giving reports in. They've been doing a great job, but I think it's highly disappointing that it's taken 4 months and well overdue. And great, it's now being done, and hopefully we get good data, and hopefully the government shares that data with the community immediately, because it's so important that these fishermen have an understanding of where their livelihood's going.
Absolutely. And do you think we need to be doing more? I know the government has announced the assistance package for the last quarter. The Minister was just talking about that. But in your opinion, should this government be doing more?
Definitely so. To me, with the amount of fish washing up on our shores, there's obviously significant losses been occurring out there. We need to understand what that means for the fishermen. And the fee relief was up until the end of June. They're now entering into a really uncertain period of their income going forward as they go into a new year, and they don't know what to expect, what they can, what fish are out there for them to catch. Hearing from some fishers that they haven't seen calamari around for months to catch. There's been huge impacts on their livelihoods.
Shadow Minister, thank you so much for calling in. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
David Basham there, who is the Shadow Minister for Water Infrastructure. Time for a short break. I'll have the Police Commissioner with me in the studio after the 8:30 news.
No matter what your lifestyle looks like, if you have a home care package, you can choose who cooks your meals. Local Kitchen Co. is an Adelaide-owned, NDIS-approved provider dedicated to delivering nutritious, affordable, home-style meals straight to your door. Every meal is thoughtfully planned, made with fresh local ingredients and generously portioned. With weekly changing menus, there's always something new to try. So if you've got a home care package and you like your meals locally made and delicious, search Local Kitchen Co. and order today.
Why are we here? What is the nature of reality? Do I really need all that data to listen to history podcasts?
Huzzah! Question everything!
Especially your telco plan. Get the data you need at low prices with Aldi Mobile.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. From the boardroom to the ballroom, from the hills to the beach, Your Say Group Catering will cater for any event. yoursaygroup.com.au. 5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A possible shower 16 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Hands you can trust and state-of-the-art facilities. Physio Extra, tailoring care for you. physioextra.com.
Convicted killer Bradley John Murdoch has died from throat cancer, taking the secret of Peter Falconio's final resting place to the grave. Murdoch was serving life for the 2001 murder of the British backpacker who he shot after flagging down his car in the Northern Territory Outback. Police recently upped the reward to $500,000 for information leading to the discovery of Falconio's remains. A patrol vessel will be trawling the Gulf St Vincent today to develop a recovery plan for the algal bloom. The data will be used to help experts understand the rate of potential recovery from the bloom. Last night, a community forum was held at the Brighton and Seacliff Yacht Club, attracting a large number of residents concerned about the situation. One of Australia's closest neighbours, Indonesia, is the latest country to ink a deal with the US president. Washington correspondent Lauren Tamasi has the details.
Donald Trump has called this a great deal for everybody, but the Indonesian government is yet to confirm the agreement. The US president outlining the details on social media, saying the Pacific country has committed to purchasing $15 billion in US energy, along with 50 Boeing jets, and that there will be open access to the Indonesian market. In return, Indonesia will be stung with a 19% tariff.
They are giving us access into Indonesia, which we never had. And the other part is they are going to pay 19% and we are going to pay nothing.
That deal, as Australia is yet to make headway on a trade agreement and the Prime Minister is yet to meet face-to-face with Donald Trump.
Experts say artificial intelligence is causing students to forget what they've just learned. Gabrielle Hodson has the story.
Artificial intelligence is being used in schools to correct spelling and grammar, refine writing, draft emails and develop lesson plans. But experts from the Central Queensland University have told News Corp it's weakening memory and reasoning abilities, originality, and comes with some ethical concerns. They fear students using AI for essays are then struggling to outline their arguments in class. In the US, an MIT study also found using AI to write essays led to a 47% decline in active neural connections, with ChatGPT users suffering the lowest brain engagement, consistently underperforming in neural, linguistic and behavioural tests.
The Emmy nominations are out. There are multiple nods for The Studio, Severance, Hacks and The White Lotus. Cate Blanchett is flying the Aussie flag, recognised for the Apple series Disclaimer, while RuPaul has become the most nominated reality host in Emmys history. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's is overstocked with demos that must be cleared. Upgrade your vehicle today. Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Here's Corey Norris.
Good morning, Mel. Port Adelaide could be forced to make at least 2 changes for Saturday's trip to Launceston. Jason Horne-Francis' season is over after having surgery on a broken foot, and footy boss Chris Davies has told 5AA Breakfast the captain Connor Rosie is unlikely to take on the Hawks with a broken hand.
Unfortunately, Connor really struggled to grip the ball after his finger, dislocated and he fractured, his hand in the same incident, unfortunately. So he'll be doubtful.
Carlton's Adam Chera has been whacked with a $5,500 fine by the AFL Tribunal for making careless contact with an umpire. Also at the Tribunal, North Melbourne's Tristan Sherry's 3-game ban was upheld, as was Brisbane forward Zach Bailey's 1-match suspension. On the eve of this weekend's Open Championship, a raw confession from world number 1 golfer Scotty Scheffler.
I'm blessed to be able to come out here and play golf, but if my golf ever started affecting my home life or it ever affected the relationship I have with my wife or with my son, that's going to be the last day that I play out here for a living. This is not the be-all, end-all. This is not the most important thing in my life.
The 29-year-old 3-time major winner is yet to win the famed Claret Jug, and that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Greasy roads from overnight showers. Take it easy in the drive-in, and fair bit of fog around this morning. Quite persistent, particularly through the hills. Quite heavy up around Crayford, Stirling, the tunnels. Got a breakdown too on the freeway at the moment at Carey Gully Road. Speeds reduced through there. Bit slow at the moment. South Road at Edwardstown. Quite sluggish too. Mourine Road at the Anzac Highway intersection. And got a camera right now. Bartley Terrace at West Lake Shore in one of those big vans. Look out for that. There's $1,000 to win every day with C Coffee at OTR. Simply scan the OTR app for your chance to win. T's and C's apply. OTR. Making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic. on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cosy. Stay with CMAX. Visit cmax.com.au now and register your interest today.
16 today with a possible shower. Showers easing tomorrow, also 16. Friday, partly cloudy and 15. And Saturday, 16. Right now, it's 10 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
Our place is your place at the Albion Hotel. We're big on celebrations, so bring the whole family and let the kids loose to explore our massive outdoor playground. Every day is Schnitzel Day at the Albion. Loyalty members that have downloaded the Albion app enjoy discounts and rewards on food and drinks every day of the week. And if you're on the go, we've got you covered in our Thirsty Camel drive-through bottle shop. The Albion Hotel. Your local, your people, your place.
REQ makes switching to solar simple. One local expert handles it all. Panels, home batteries, EV chargers and water heat pumps installed by their own in-house team, not contractors. Everything's designed to work together. Store your power, charge your car, heat your water for less. No middleman, no confusion. Just one trusted company delivering real savings and reliable service. Locally owned, fully accountable. REQ. Google REQ Energy Solutions for a free in-home quote.
Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth the trip. From 1 to 9 yards across the Barossa, Clare and of course Gawler. You can get new and demo Ford Rangers in Clare, Mitsubishi Outlanders, Hyundai Hybrids and Mazda CX-5 in Nuriutpa, Jack Utes in Gawler, plus over 300 certified used vehicles in stock. Head to one of Steinborner's 9 locations or view the whole range at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth the trip.
You wake up and you're feeling a bit off. Your nose is runny, but maybe it's just a cold. That scratchy throat, though, that could be something worse.
Test for COVID, Flu A, Flu B and RSV in just minutes with Cell Life, the premium 4-in-1 rapid antigen test. Fast, reliable results. Make the smart choice for your health and your family. Insist on the brand the healthcare professionals prefer. Cell Life at leading chemists and Amazon. CELLIFE.
It's game on at Hyundai with offers on new and demonstrator models. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
5AA Breakfast with Jade Robron and Tom Wren.
We've got Grant Stevens in the studio in just a moment. It is 22 minutes to 9 o'clock. It is Wednesday, July the 16th. Now, this half hour, I've got to give away a Care Alert Smart Dialer. I'm going to spin for it, so make sure you stay tuned because there is an opportunity for you to win one of these amazing smart dialers. Use your home care package through My Aged Care or the NDIS for a carefree alert. Visit carealert.com.au. Big half hour, like I said. Keep those text messages coming. How foggy is it where you are? Love to get some pictures coming through. We've got a stack of them going up on the live stream, 044808 1395, causing a little bit of chaos out on the roads. Not too bad in some other areas, but please keep those text messages coming. In the meantime, I've got the Police Commissioner with me. He's usually here every couple of weeks with the boys, but Commissioner, you're stuck with me this morning. Good morning to you.
Morning, Tom. I think we can make do.
We can make do. We've done it in the past, haven't we? We've hosted a whole show before.
Yeah, I think we really put the...
Cat amongst the pigeons.
Dave and Will really were on the edge there. I think they thought they might have been losing their jobs.
Well, after that happened, they were supposed to be on holidays for another few weeks, but they came back.
Yeah, I can understand. It was a dynamo team, you and me.
Yeah, exactly right. More of it in the future. That's at least according to us. Sorry to switch tack and make it a bit more serious, but the passing of Bradley John Murdoch overnight, convicted killer, of course, and he was arrested here in South Australia, Commissioner. I mean, that's a significant story and one that will go down in policing history.
Well, I think you describe Bradley Murdoch as one of the most notorious criminals Australia's ever seen, and his arrest in South Australia for sexual offences, which he was ultimately acquitted for, led to his having to deal with the charges relating to Peter Falconio.
It was such a huge case at the time, wasn't it, Commissioner? Yeah. And, you know, not just here in South Australia, but I think all around the country. It was a case that captivated the attention worldwide as well as Australia-wide, wasn't it?
Well, absolutely. When you think about the number of people who young people travelling to Australia to do the backpacking experience and sort of really enjoy what we have to offer from a tourism point of view, internationally, this was a massive story. And yeah, sadly, Murdoch's gone to his grave without disclosing any further details that would give the Falconio family the opportunity to put that part of their lives to bed in terms of recovering Peter's remains.
Which is heartbreaking and speaks to the evilness, I think, of the man. It's just horrific for that poor family.
Evil to his core.
Just awful. I mean, and Joanne Lee's what she went through, but I think probably forgotten to some extent is the impact it's had on the Falconio family.
Absolutely.
Back home.
Yeah. And even Joanne Lee's went through some really hard times in terms of people, questioning her version of events, which was, absolutely terrible. Like a harrowing experience, ultimately upheld by the courts, and he died in jail, and that's probably the place he should have been.
I know that when an officer falls, when one goes down, you all bleed as a police force. You're a very close collegiate group of people. Do amazing work within the community, and the Jason Doig situation was just heartbreaking as well. Yeah. In the line of duty, we heard the submissions yesterday in court. That was very emotional. I know he was someone that meant a lot to you and the wider community of South Australian Police.
Yeah, look, these are not just words. Jason was genuinely a fantastic not even a young man. He was an excellent person and a great country copper. And yesterday we heard the submissions from Michael Hutchinson, the sergeant that was on the scene when Michael was shot, and Rebecca Cass. She was there too. Both of those people have experienced significant trauma and are dealing with that every single day. So it's not just the loss of Jason, it's the ongoing hardship and pain and trauma that those other officers carry with them. And then you have the wider police family. Every single police officer in South Australia felt that loss immensely, and then you look over the border and it's every police officer in Australia, and sadly we've had too many instances in the last couple of years where police officers around Australia have lost their lives in the execution of their duty. We just had one a few weeks ago in Tasmania, an officer shot and killed.
Yes.
There is a real show of solidarity amongst police when we see these events occurring, and we stand with each other. But the thing that probably is lost on people is the impact it has on police officers' families. Their loved ones, their mums, their dads, their partners, their children, worrying about mum or dad or their son going to work, whether they're going to come home or not that night. And it brings home the absolute risk in policing that we face every day. 99% of the time, you do your job, you do it effectively, but there is always that risk that goes with policing. And
you and I were at a luncheon only a few weeks ago, SA Police Legacy, who do fantastic work in that space, helping those families that are affected by the loss of loved ones. It's a stark reminder, isn't it? They pull on the uniform and I think people see the police officer, but they are a father, a brother, a mother, a sister. They're ordinary people. They're ordinary people.
And they do an extraordinary job. And it's a job that does carry some risk. We train our people as best as we can. We give them the right equipment. We educate them in relation to safely resolving situations. But, we go into a lot of volatile situations. We're dealing with angry people, violent people, people who have mental health issues. And you don't always know how a situation is going to unfold in front of you. And sadly, we see too many occasions when police officers are injured or killed.
And I guess more broadly, mental health is a really fascinating one. We're probably seeing more instances of that and unfortunately the unpredictability of when you're called to a job, if someone's suffering from that, you don't know when you're knocking on the door about to deal with that person.
No, that's right. And there's a role for police in responding to mental health incidents, because quite often a mental health incident will present as someone behaving in an agitated way, aggressively, threatening other people, threatening to hurt themselves. So there is a police response that's required, but as a community, we need to make sure that these people who are experiencing mental health episodes get the help they need, and it's not simply just a policing response that sees them being arrested and put before the courts, because that's not a good solution for those people.
There's been a real crackdown. We've seen, it was 30 years ago now, and it was caused by the Port Arthur situation, the buyback of the guns, but we're really tightening up now on knives and swords. Can you talk me through that?
Sure. We have new legislation in South Australia, and on my assessment, I think it's probably the toughest legislation in Australia in terms of managing violent incidents or preventing incidents involving knives from occurring in our communities. We are watching closely the number of events we have that involves a knife, and as part of that, there's been a change to what you're allowed to have. Machetes and swords are now considered to be prohibited weapons, which means you cannot have them unless you fit one of the exemption criteria that's in the Act. So in order to encourage people to bring their prohibited weapons and dispose of them, we've got a 3-month period where you can drop into any police station other than those police stations in the central business district, hand in your machete or your sword, and you don't have to give your details. We'll take those from you and we'll dispose of them safely. After that 3-month period, you can still hand them in, but we'll probably be asking for your details just for our recording processes. So we've got a special process for this 3-month period to encourage as many people to get rid of them as we can. And in the first 2 weeks, we've had over 500 machetes or swords handed into police stations, which really surprised me. It shows that the community are listening and they're doing the right thing.
So, if there's any confusion, perhaps go into a police station and say, hey, I've got this knife or machete or sword. Am I exempt for reason X, Y, Z?
Yeah. And that's the best thing to do is contact police. We can give you the advice. And if you are bringing a machete or a sword in, please make sure it's in a sheath or a scabbard.
Of course.
Or you've got it sort of between cardboard that's taped together so you don't cause any unnecessary concerns by the police officers who are working in the station at the time or any other people that might be in the station. Just use a bit of common sense when you come in, and we'll get rid of it for you.
Because we've had a few text messages of people that are collectors, etc., wondering, are they exempt? There are exemptions still there.
And being a legitimate collector of certain items would be an exemption. There is a long list of exemptions, but they are quite specific, and I just encourage people to, you could probably Google what are the exemptions in South Australia for a prohibited weapon, and with AI sort of helping out Google nowadays, it'll pop right up in front of you.
And particularly at night time, we want everyone to be safe, and those that have got kids or grandkids that are heading out, knife crime, is that something that you found has been on the rise?
Well, we are recording more events involving a knife, but that doesn't mean knives are being used. It just means that a knife was present. So we keep a very close eye on the stats. Overall crime is in a pretty good spot. We are seeing reductions in a lot of crime categories, but we do see some serious events that really capture the public's attention, and they're the ones that we're targeting now, those violent events involving edged weapons. We just don't want any of those happening, so we're responsive to that as much as we can be.
And I know you're really proactive in the space of recruitment and trying to get more and more police officers on board, which is great. And I know I've seen it. I hope you don't mind. You got your pins out and we're showcasing our amazing climate. I know it's not like that today, but particularly to those overseas, you're at the beach, I think, showcasing how amazing the weather is. What was that like?
Well, the recruiting team came to me saying we've got this great idea to sort of really sell South Australia to people in the UK and Ireland and Canada about just how good it is here. And they said, we want you in your board shorts, police shirt and board shorts, standing in knee-deep in the water. And I said, well, we've all got to play our part. So, I did it. And it's gone really well overseas. And just on the weather we've got today, I speak to some of our UK recruits and, they've arrived here when the blue skies and sunshine and we think it's an okay day. They think it's amazing. And even on a day like today, they'll say this still isn't as bad as what we have at home.
It's funny you say that because the rugby was here last week, of course, for the Irish and British Lions, and we had a media dinner and a lot of the reporters from over there, and I was saying, I'm sorry, you haven't got the best of our weather. And they said, this is still better than most of our summer days back home.
Yep, absolutely. And you can tell the English recruits, they're the ones walking around in a short sleeve shirt on a day like today. Yeah, they stand out, but they're doing a fantastic job. They're really supporting our frontline workforce. They're coming in as experienced police officers. We induct them into our rules and procedures and vehicles, firearms, that sort of thing, and then they're straight out and they're adding immediate value because of their policing experience.
I was going to say we're similar in a lot of ways, aren't we, with our societies, but they would also have different experiences over there. How have they found the adjustment generally?
Well, overwhelmingly, every single one I've spoken to, they're loving the lifestyle. They think South Australia Police is a fantastic organisation to work for. They feel really well supported. And, they do bring a wealth of experience. We've got counter-terrorism experts. We've got child sex investigation experts. We've got homicide detectives. They're all starting on the front line in uniform, standing alongside our locally recruited police officers. And after they've done a bit of time on the road, we'll be looking to take advantage of the skills they brought to South Australia. There's an immense opportunity for us here. But the important thing too is local recruiting. We're still actively recruiting for South Australians to join South Australia Police. It is a fantastic career, and I just encourage anyone who's thinking about it to take that step because we are seriously recruiting as hard as we can.
So if people are wondering out there, what should I do, or a career move?
Straight to our website,
Come on.
SA Police, just go to our recruiting page. All the information's there, but I'll just encourage people, take the step. It's a great career, and we pay you while you train. So from day one, we'll be paying you and educating you in those various elements of policing.
Fantastic. Much on rest of the week?
I don't look too far ahead.
Day at a time.
One day at a time. Yeah.
You sound like a footy coach. I like that. One day at a time.
I have been listening to some of those coaches' speeches. Yep.
Oh, great stuff. Well, Grant, it's always great to see you in the studio. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks, mate.
Police Commissioner Grant Stevens joining me in the studio. Time for a break. We'll wrap up 5AA Breakfast shortly.
Some things are worth waiting for, like tickets to your favourite concert, waiting for a nice bottle of Red to breathe, or waiting for the kids to finally unpack the dishwasher. But waiting to get your air conditioner serviced just before summer or winter really hits? It's just not worth the pain. Get in touch with Morford Air now for servicing or a new system. Put it at the top of your to-do list. When it's too hot or cold to bear, reach for the Morford Air. morfordair.com.au.
Morford Air. Hello, darlings. Celebrate the festive season in style at this year's Cabaret Christmas at Adelaide Convention Centre. A spectacular lineup of show-stopping entertainment with Adelaide's hottest party bands and, best of all, me, Hans, your MC. So gather your workmates or your friends as we toast the season with an all-inclusive 3-course dinner package. Don't miss Cabaret Christmas. Book now via the Adelaide Convention Centre website.
Doing day-to-day things online has made our lives easier. Paying bills, shopping, banking. It all makes perfect sense to do online. But what doesn't make sense is doing your will online. It's fraught with potential problems and can leave a mess behind. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your final wishes properly. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com, Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Feeling overwhelmed and stressed? Struggling to focus? Caruso's new L-theanine 400 provides fast relief in just 3 hours. Caruso's new L-theanine 400 helps relieve symptoms of stress, supports mental clarity, and calms the mind without the drowsiness. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and stress is clouding your mind, it's time to take back control with Caruso's new L-theanine 400. Caruso's new L-theanine 400 is available now at leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Hi, I'm Adam from Gutser. We've been relining gutters across Australia for nearly 30 years. Now you can get your hands on our DIY house gutter relining kit. This means you can install gutter liner for under $10 a metre. It's tough, has a 10-year weatherproof warranty, and it's 70% cheaper than replacing your gutters. Go to gutser.com.au to see the installation videos. Buy online and get the kit delivered to your door. Nothing can be finer than Gutser gutter liner.
Greasy roads with overnight showers. Take it easy on the drive and look out for a bit of fog around today. Quite persistent, particularly through the hills around Crowfoot, Stirling and the tunnels. Quite slow for works at the moment. O'Halloran Hill, Southern Expressway near Majors Road. Getting busy, Marion Road at the Anzac Highway intersection for works. And look out for a camera Bartley Terrace, West Lake Shore in one of those great big vans. Harris Scarf's Big Stock Take sale is on now. Save 50% off cast iron cookware. Exclusions apply. Harris Scarf, great brands, great prices. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
It's game on at Hyundai with offers on new and demonstrator models. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
5AA Breakfast with Jade Robran and Tom Wren.
We are very much on the home stretch here this morning. We've got 200 metres to go, the final furlong at Morphettville if you want to compare it. Had an absolute ball with you this morning. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. Stack of text messages coming through about the fog and also about a few of the stories we've had on, so keep them coming. We just heard from the traffic there, and that was all thanks to Agostino Mitsubishi's overstocked with demos, and they must be cleared. So you can upgrade your vehicle today. That's at Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes. Whilst we're on the sort of traffic theme, let's get into Fuel Watch, and we'll do that all thanks to RAA. Don't get stuck on the side of the road. Get RAA Road Service. Now, unleaded, the cheapest, the United at Melrose Park on South Road is $1.54.5. The Shell, the OTR at Welland on Port Road is $1.54.9. The BPX at Convenience Prospect, Main North Road, $1.54.9. And the EG Ampol at Mitcham on Belair Road is $1.56.9. I'd say fill up while you can, while it's in the $1.50s. I saw fuel coming in this morning at just under $2 a litre. So I reckon it could be going up pretty quickly, or at least throughout the day. So if you've got the opportunity to do it, I'd say fill up if you can find somewhere in the $1.50s today. Cheapest diesel, the Solo at Nailsworth, Main North Road, is $1.62.5. And the Yugo West Hindmarsh on Port Road is $1.66.9. Now, I mentioned we have got a Care Alert Smart Dialer to give away this morning. We're about to do a spin. I've got Paddy, my intrepid producer, in the studio. Numbers 1 to 25, they correlate to a year, and if it is the year you were born, give me a call and you will win. Let's have a spin of the wheel, Paddy. You can hear it going in the background. Beautifully done. Number 3. So we had number 1 the other day. That's 1927. Goodness, it's going to make you, 98 years of age. Have we got any 98-year-old listeners out there? I hope we do. Give us a call. 8223 0000 is the number. In the meantime, we've got some text messages coming through, 0448 08 1395. Oh, this is a nice one. Thanks, Mike. Great interview with the Commissioner Grant Stevens covering everything relevant, Tommy. That's from Mike at McGill. Good on you, Mike. Really appreciate that. Lots of other texts coming through. Geez, I hope they didn't film those officers knee deep in the algal bloom. That's from Jane. And the troublemakers are not going to hand in their weapons. That's from Karen. Yeah, there's this 3-month sort of amnesty, if you like, for those that have got swords or, knives, machetes, etc., things that are prohibited under the new legislation that is coming through. We heard the police commissioner say he thinks it's the toughest in the country. After that time, I think they are going to have to give them back or they'll be forcibly removed from them. So hopefully everything will happen as it should, Karen. But yes, you're right. There are always people that want to do the wrong thing. So hopefully it will all come to pass that everything that needs to happen does happen going forward. That is just about it from me this morning on 5AA Breakfast. I'm going to be back tomorrow, so make sure you tune in. But stick around today because Matthew Pantelis, he is ready to go with a huge show of mornings. And we've also got Mel Usher in the newsroom with Corey Norris. They've been covering all the news and sport throughout the day. It's been a foggy old start to the day. The good news is it's looking as though it is going to clear throughout the day. It's going to be 16 today with a possible shower. Tomorrow, showers easing, also 16, partly cloudy for Friday, 15. Saturday is going to be a shower or two, 16 degrees. Sunday looks like it's also going to be pretty good. It's going to be partly cloudy and 16 degrees, which is great news for the football. And then Monday and Tuesday next week, we're starting to get that weather come back. A shower or two for Monday and then showers for Tuesday, upwards of 15 millimetres of rain. Been a busy show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stick around though. News is next and then Matthew Pantelis with mornings. I'll catch you tomorrow morning, same time, 6 o'clock, right here.